This is a production of Darn TV.
Welcome.
Hey.
I think it's episode
Hey.
41, but I know it's episode
Yeah.
1 of 2024.
That it is.
Is it weird to say 2024? Does
Still.
anybody else?
Yeah.
I think when I walk into the facility here, I want to have a camera to show what I see every different time that I walk in here, because it's new and exciting every time. You know, open the door today, I'm like, it's a mod sitting right there diagonally, taking up all of Bernie's garage space in the middle of January.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no parking in the garage here. This is like a Lamborghini parked at
Well,
Marketplace. It
so-
took up 2 spots.
Yeah, and what the story is we work out of Magic Towing Shop in the summer, and there's a heated garage right out here. We fortunately have a heated garage space right here at my dad's, but for the most part, tow trucks take up Magic Towing Shop in the wintertime, so no race cars. And so Max's car gets moved up here for the wintertime. So we can still putz on it, work on it. We got some body stuff to do. But for the most part, it was ready when we parked it. Not much to do to it, and it's going to get a fresh body and a fresh wrap and good to go.
It felt good to see it, you know, because
Yeah.
all I've been seeing is on TV, so I had to touch it a little bit and sniff it.
It was real. But I think, Craig, to your point, I think we can't let this sneak by. Why is it in there diagonally? I know when you work on them, you gotta get some room, but Bernie could fit in there if you straighten it out.
Well, Bernie doesn't do a very good job of cleaning his garage.
So
so
it's on Bernie.
whatever
He doesn't get her fixed up for himself.
whatever we do, we clean the garage. We put the car where we want it.
It shows.
I bet it does.
It looks cool parked like that.
Yep. So Craig has been brought up to speed that Max's plans next year are he's going to be a sport mod driver, and Brandon, you're sharing that his hobby stock is going to be somebody else's.
Yeah, it's going to be going to Williston. Hopefully, hopefully they reach back out to me, and a new young driver in Williston's going to get a hobby stock.
That is exciting. Yeah. And if the count maybe is short anywhere, it is to the west, so that is a good thing.
Max had a lot of good runs with that car in Williston. I think he lost a feature twice in turn 4
Towards the end there, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
on the final lap.
Yeah, those white flag corner 4s have proven to be gremlins every once in a while for everybody. So,
Yeah.
when is the last time we met? Before
Well,
Thanksgiving?
we did a post-Thanksgiving recap to what we ate and what we didn't eat and
right.
and what we did. And
It was the Thursday before the banquet.
well, no, that's when
Was
us
last-
three were
when
together.
us
Yes.
three. Then
We
had
did-
That was my last one.
Did we do
Yeah.
2 more without him?
Yeah,
didn't we?
we had Smallsy. We had
Yeah,
Smallsy on the hot
Smalls.
plate.
I didn't even
It
reach
wasn't
out.
real hot, but
I didn't even reach out to Smalls about being on here tonight.
oh,
He might be offended.
no hurt feelings.
Because I have not been able to speak publicly to you about you did a beautiful job filming the event, the whole banquet, the Hall of Fame induction, and oh my goodness.
Yeah, we haven't seen you. Yes, I
I
haven't seen
can't
you
imagine
since then. Yeah.
that there was a dry eye in the room after you were done, especially your mom and dad. They had to be so proud.
That was exciting. Yeah, it was a very touching moment for me, for sure. I had my family there, my mom and dad there, as you say, and all the people I got to enjoy it with. I mean, Wayne and Nathan for sure. I enjoyed racing with them, and to highlight them was cool. It was just a neat deal. Katie's done a great job with that, and again, it was honoring. It really, like you say, just get a moment to stop and reflect on it, and I was able to sit with Larry Schimmelfinney. I mean, it just the decades were represented at my table between my dad being there and, of course, Larry being there and a longtime president, too. So the room was fun. We missed you.
It was cool to see the generations at the whole banquet.
Yeah.
You had young drivers, Kyler being a young man, young driver winning the championship, and then inducting you guys into the Hall of Fame and everything in between. And
younger drivers, Will and Caden, doing their thing
Yep.
there too. So
it's pretty.
things are moving around,
And it's always neat. I find it always fun to include the McLean County deal, the awards from McLean County in there. It just works so
appreciate that.
perfectly, meshes all together. They kind of changed it up. Smalls did one of his Smalls moves and said, no, we're doing this different than the way Brandon did it. And they did the Hall of Fame first. 100% success.
Yeah.
Don't tell Smalls I said that, but 100% success.
Yeah.
I thought getting the Hall of Fame right away.
Yeah.
Everybody was attentive.
We had our we knew we had to do some speech and some talking, so it might have caught us a little off guard.
I
We
screwed
might
up
not have
on
been as prepared as we could
You
have
would've-
gotten later.
You would have loved it, other than the fact I screwed up on the volume of the song.
I heard it.
It wasn't loud enough to really get above the clapping and stuff, but I had tight-fitting jeans on for you. Which one did I
Yeah.
have?
Well, tight-fitting jeans on the way up, and then you had she's got her blue
jeans on the way down.
So, but yeah,
That had to ease the butterflies then. You know, a little walk-up music.
yeah. It was like, okay, here we go. It was a nice touch. It was well, it would be forever a memory for sure.
Yeah,
So
just my little touch to it. It's just, I can't thank Katie enough. She reached out to do the video or asked me to record it. I hope she's happy with it. I didn't do any graphics. I didn't do any of that stuff. I just simply recorded it so that way everybody, and then we can cut it up and do what we want afterwards.
She recently posted it on the
Yep.
Hall of Fame webpage, so or Facebook page. I'm
My
sorry, so,
biggest
yeah.
goal when I do something like that is get clean audio so people can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hear the speeches, hear the talking, and just try to capture you guys on stage in the moment. You don't have to get too creative with it. It's just get the basics, and I felt like we did that. So
I really liked, hearing Nathan's story about where he's at in his life. Still a
Yeah.
young man, he could hop back in it tomorrow, but he was talking about he didn't want to
busy.
come back and he didn't want to suck.
Yeah. If you've been able to talk with Nathan at all, he was talking exactly the way he talks normally. So I nothing but great respect for him. And I mean, he really summed it up. He he cut out all the PR side of it. Nobody wants to just not be their best. So
Because just like we talk on the track,
that was pretty good.
Brandon, you were talking about having a lift down in Arizona. Well, you lift a little bit in racing, and what passes you by? What technology? What different techniques? And so you got to get caught back up to speed. And
I would, I think he stays still active in helping some people race, but nonetheless, there would be some concerns, I would think, from his side of sight that I haven't been there for a while, and maybe some stuff has creeped in there that I haven't had my thumb on, and there'll be that anxiety if and when he decides to climb back in. He has not, by any stretch, said he's retired. He's enjoying his kids growing up and enjoying the things that they're doing, and that's cool too. So.
none of us retire. I don't know.
couple things that have changed since he's last been there is Gabe Deshaw has shown up.
Well,
Will Shresky showed up.
Yes.
The young guns.
Yes. And competition is always trying to find something.
No, we didn't. Without you being here, we had Smalls the last couple weeks. We kind of went off on some. I don't know where we went. I honestly, it's been over a month since we had a show. I've had some people message me. I've had some people message Dirt Weekly. You gave me a text today, which kind of.
It was on purpose.
to kind of remind me, hey,
It's
we're
Wednesday,
here.
So,
I texted Jenny and I said, hey, Dirt Weekly night, and I could tell in her response, well, I'll be at home with Max. Because Peyton works Wednesday nights, and I was like, well, don't sound too excited.
Hi, Jenny, I saw you yesterday.
But, no, a lot has happened. We've had holidays. I had a plan to try to get Gabe Deshaw on a Dirt Weekly episode over Christmas. Never put it together with schedules and different things that we were working through, but I think he'd be cool to have on just to visit with. He's clean. He speaks well.
He's very presentable. It would be nice to see what's in his mind.
Yep. Brock is the world traveler or the U.S. traveler going down to Arizona for Thanksgiving. He was down there, and then he was down for the Winter Nationals. I had the opportunity to go down for the Winter Nationals.
Yes. Yes, we
what
should,
what
we
a
should
great
check in on some
what
of
a
that.
great couple weeks to be gone.
Oh my.
I missed 50% of the cold snap.
We call that cheating. So, you did.
It is not right, mentioning what it looks like outside right now when it was 50 below and things at the store are not working because the cold is just making it not work.
Yeah.
And then you go home and watch the drone flying over the track and the irrigation going on over the crops. It's like, come on, Brandon.
We can't be in the same country.
Oh,
That's
it's-
something else.
That's what we were trying to explain to people, that we're 50 miles from Canada, and we were literally going, we were within 10 miles of Mexico, and it's just two opposite ends of the United States, and it was a learning experience.
Is there any chatter amongst the group down south, down there, like what is going on up in North Dakota? Rob Van Mill wins the stock cars down there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speeton.
Nathan Speeton, and I mean, so much talent is coming.
North Dakota was really well represented,
Yep.
and even over in Nevada and stuff like that. The other side of the state there, Lucas Rodden was down there doing
Yep.
good and stuff like that. So, yeah.
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 It's North Dakota. There's a very high level of competition up here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that. That's why Tom Barry comes up here, is Ricky Thornton Jr. That's why they come to North Dakota, because they have the level of competition that we have up here, and it just makes you that much better to go to an event like that.
And Travis Hagen's down there. He's running with Baca.
Yep.
And maybe we get our third North Dakota.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
That's right.
it was very fun to see. Very fun to see a lot of people. In the racing world that we've been in, I've had the opportunity to meet a ton of people, ton of cool people.
What I don't get is, again, the drone flying over in the stands. Why does no one go to this stuff?
I thought weekend 2 was very well attended by the race fans. Weekend 1, especially the weeknights, the Wednesday, because we raced Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I would say the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was pretty light. Saturday was always pretty good.
Get into the weekend.
You're asking a lot at the community down there. I mean, wherever you go, they don't even realize there's a racetrack there.
And maybe
When we're in town and we're going to these places and we're eating breakfast and we're talking funny in their mind, they're looking at
Right.
us. They have an accent because they probably speak Spanish and English, and we sound like we're on whatever that show is. That,
Fargo.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. And maybe it looks that way because sometimes, I guess, when you're driving up to our track, the grandstand looks light
Yeah.
when you're driving up. But, man,
No, it's a cool event. Brad Whitfield has something really neat down there. There could be some. The biggest frustration, and this is a minor frustration, the biggest frustration we had is because it's located where it is. The pits are so spread out. Communication to us drivers to let us know what's going on, not even there. He's got to invest in some speakers or run some wires. He's got to do something. If he's going to park people as far, I mean, if you can imagine, just think about, it was a 5-minute drive through the pit area, down a hill and around and whatever, to get from our trailer to the staging area.
Wow.
And then it was probably an 8-minute drive when we come off the track to go all the way around over by the tech area and back through the pits and through the center pits and up the hill and around the corner and stuff. Now, granted, we were parked in the furthest corner away from everybody because we kind of wanted our own little area
because you need enough room for the projector
for the projector on the side of the trailer.
Needed a couple of stalls to get the angle right.
But it's just there was some nights where they did some packing. They wanted sport mods to go first rather than the stock cars or whatever. And
You didn't get the memo.
well, we got the memo late, so then Brock's late going down there. Then they're threatening, well, you didn't pack, you don't get to start in your spot in the heat race. Well, you're like, well, how the heck are we supposed to know way up here? There's the only thing that keeps us in tune with what's going on is once the sun goes down and we turn the projector on, now we can see what race they're on and
I see. So you follow along live.
so you follow along. You're about a 5-minute delay, 3 to 5 minute delay, so you have to be on your toes and then they do the staging heats in the infield, so you technically have to be ready and down there and staging 5 races before your race.
Wow.
Because there's always 2 heats in the infield.
That could be a half hour or 45 or an hour.
You're spending a half hour, 45 minutes in your car for heat racing.
Yeah.
There's always 2 heat. There's 1 heat on the track. There's 2 heats in the infield, and then usually there's 3 heats staged out in the staging area. There was some times that I pushed it because I'm stubborn. I don't want to sit in my car that long.
That's a long time.
And I would come. My heat race would be the one next to go across to the middle, and here comes Brand in the last car trying to weave through everybody to get up to my parking.
Get around the other 2 heats that are already there.
But they do that to keep the show going, so they can pull cars down in the middle, pull cars on the back, give them 1 to go. We're going green right away. They do that for the efficiency of bang, 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 no waiting, no nothing. So it worked because they were able to click shows off pretty fast. The overall experience, though, I'd do it again.
Yeah. Well, there's something special about, like Craig's reflecting, too, is to be able to race a race car.
In January.
Right. I was able to go to Florida.
And
we were counting them off 26 years ago was the last time I was there. But, man, that is cool.
I can't go without thanking Jason Olson for giving me the opportunity because the original plan was for me to not race, just to go down and hang out with Brock, my daughter and I to go hang out with Brock. And just the second weekend, then when he gave me the opportunity to race, we made the first weekend work. I flew home and then flew back down for the second. So
that was
thanks to him and his family, Kenzie and Zach and everybody. Brock mainly. Brock and Jason are the one that put the car back together in the matter of 2 weeks because before Christmas or the middle, December 15th and 16th, I think Brock flew down there and he worked on the car that whole weekend, and it went from bare chassis because it had to get straightened. The front horns were bent from being rolled over, and it had to get straightened. It basically went from bare chassis with no body on it to a complete roller with motor and tranny, and then all they had to do was mount the body after he left that weekend. So
Nodak released their schedule.
Yep.
And I think I saw Mandans and maybe Underwood. But my point is, how many nights do we race at Nodak through a whole summer?
Well, so like this year, I believe with the June 30th championship night, there is 11 points nights, I want to say.
I think there's 10 points nights, and then I think everybody races once in August. You have 3 days of Motor Magic. So
down in Arizona, you raced 13.
No, I raced 8.
Point being, you nearly raced a whole season in 2 weeks.
So here's how I put it into perspective.
That's how we reflected on that Florida stuff. We raced 12. So
here's how I put it into perspective for everybody at work. I was explaining to them this. Brandon Beater raced 7 times in 2023 total. Okay. I just raced 8, and we're not even 2 weeks. Not even 2 weeks into 2024, I raced 8. From 2016 to 2022, I raced 9 times total in them years because I didn't race a whole bunch there for quite a few years.
You're current.
I raced 8.
I'm surprised that they can get that much buy-in from the drivers because we got Motor Magic 3 days, and sometimes the Fridays a struggle to get everybody there. And
well, if you notice the car count at the beginning, the first weekend was we were in the 250s, I think, 250s, 260s for total cars, and by the end of it, we were right down around 200. So there is buy-in, but there's not the people staying the full 2 weeks just ain't there.
Yeah.
I mean.
It's a big commitment to do it.
If I didn't have Jason Olson giving me a car, Brock down there to get everything ready, I wouldn't have been able to go down.
You're doing the whole 9 yards here and then loading it up and going there.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot of things got to go right.
It's a challenge.
Did you have breakdowns
on the car?
Yeah.
Or no?
What other type of breakdowns would be on you?
For what?
No, I was just saying
suggestive of travel.
I'm going to tell you right now that we had our second week. The first weekend went great. Fly down, jump on a plane, fly back. No problems.
That's cheating.
The second weekend, it took us. The first flight got canceled flying down, so we had to switch from Allegiant to Delta, and then Allegiant to United, and then United canceled the flight, one of the flights, so we switched to American Airlines going through Dallas over to Vegas. We got this thing so mixed up and round and whatever.
See, that Vegas leg, that might have been a breakdown for me. I might have
Stayed in Vegas.
Yeah,
Well, we ended up getting back on United, and had a big layover in Denver, and we flew into Vegas, and then we drove from Vegas down about 4 hours. Beautiful drive, and then beautiful drive back up to come home. But yeah, our flight home got canceled. Our flight from Vegas to Bismarck, we were supposed to be Allegiant the whole trip. Well, our first Allegiant flight going down was canceled, so then we had to switch to United and went through. It took us 4 different flights to get down there, to figure out how to get down there. Piecing one-way flights together, challenging.
Oh, boy.
And then the Allegiant flight direct from Vegas to Bismarck got canceled on the way home on Sunday, so we actually flew from Vegas to Grand Forks and rented a car and drove to Minot.
I'd have said I'll wait. I'll wait for the Bismarck one.
Yeah, but the problem was the next Bismarck one was Friday or Saturday.
Another week?
We'd have had another week there.
Stuck a week in Vegas.
I just took
and the
2
job,
weeks off.
And the job wasn't thinking that.
I just took 2 weeks
But
off.
the
2
car,
weeks in Vegas.
What
Listen to you.
just a physical demand on the equipment on everybody's car running that many nights in a row.
It's the tour.
It is.
the
It's
tour.
Times 2.
so to speak, yeah, it is.
the cool part. It's like the tour,
Two
but
of
you
them
don't have
back
to
to back.
leave. You don't leave.
Yeah.
The cars, everything, it was
drive
so
down the
nice.
road,
The
but-
weather was beautiful there, and I don't want to rub it into
You're
people,
rubbing
but
it in.
the weather was gorgeous.
I think you got a tan.
I did.
Yeah.
I actually had raccoon eyes when I come back from the first weekend down there, and everybody was at work like, oh, my God, just leave. Just go. Just get out of here.
Yeah, it was cold here.
Yeah, so my flight issues and stuff. And then when we left Arizona to drive up to Vegas, 71 degrees to land at negative 20-something.
That's ridiculous.
It's like a 90-something degree temperature swing from when we
Right, it can move 100 degrees, and it might barely be above freezing.
Yeah.
Or 60 degrees anyway. So I think we were 28 below there. At like 11 o'clock on Saturday still. It stayed cold all day. So that wasn't the wind chill. That was the good stuff. And it wasn't good.
But we're
Yeah.
cool event. I'm going to go back to this. Cool event, fun place to be, beautiful facility. Put it on your bucket list. I know maybe it's hard to get your car down there. It's hard to do this stuff in the winter, but
It is.
if you have if you want to go racing somewhere and you're picking Super Nationals or you're picking some other stuff that I'm telling you right now, you're going to have just as much money into going to Super Nationals by the time you pay for hotels and all the stuff that goes at the track and that 8 days that you're there,
Yeah, I
8
think
or
the
9
price
days.
is probably all the same. Just pick your poison.
Pick your poison. That's what, in
Yeah.
essence, that's what Brock said. Brock goes, well, I spent the same amount of money to go to Super Nationals, and I only raced 50 laps. I just put in 200 laps down here in the matter of 8 days or, a week and a half.
So did you learn anything different that you can put in your pocket to say, all right, this is what I'm doing up in Estevan this year?
I want to say yes, but I don't know until I get there.
Yeah. Time will tell. You come home thinking you did, and but then sometimes the results say, yeah, maybe I didn't.
I might have learned bad habits. I know that here's the real story. Brandon Beater has a whole bunch of bad habits in North Dakota racing because we have banking. So when you go to a flat, no banking racetrack and you try to do the old Brandon Beater, set it in up high, drive through the middle and come out in the center, and boom, I get that run down the straightaway, it don't work down there. Nope.
And that you don't see that on the track.
Because you had such a big sweeping corner.
Yeah, because the corner's too long.
Yeah. Yeah, you cock it in there, then you got to straighten it out to finish the corner and do it again.
I had to completely, Brock was after me, my dad was after me, telling me, because you need it. You need it. They're telling you, keep the car straighter. You're driving it in hard. You're kicking it sideways. Don't throw it sideways. You have to retrain your thought
So
process.
more of keeping it straight and driving it through the turns?
Yeah, it's almost like asphalt racing.
More front brake.
Yeah.
Keep the front end straight.
Yep. A lot of them, see, and that's one of the things that was a big talking point down there, and you might understand this. Some of the guys, some of the racers in the hobby, so this is all hobby stock talk. Speaking with the Cody Williams, the Morgan Olmsteads, the some of the other ones or whatever, they went away from floater rear ends. They're back to drum brakes, stock flange axle rear ends, for the sole purpose of rear brakes. They don't want rear brakes on some of that
I
stuff.
understood Dylan Richards right off the bat when this came about. He spun it out because he said it had too much back brake and I couldn't get rid of it.
Yep.
So he went back to a flange axle. I'd heard that. So.
Yep, Dylan Richards was down there as well. He had flange axle, drum brakes on the back. When you put them disc brakes, they're almost too good. So when you go in the corner, as I said with the 5 car.
You guys don't have hobbies don't have the proportioning valve. Back
Correct.
to some tech here again now. Where a stock car that does have a floater, we can adjust our brakes to have more front or more back. But you don't. You have an OEM master cylinder, and even if you flip the lines, you still can't get rid of enough back brake.
Yep.
For your balance.
So when you put the disc brakes on the back, you go in the corner, and I explained this when I was driving the 5 car. You use the brakes to tighten up your car a little bit when you have good front brakes.
You can, you get a push in it.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, that down there, I needed. I'm not.
You wanted air in the lines.
Yes. Yep.
Right. Yeah. Well, and of course, when the floater, I remember when it came about, I remember the hobby stock guy saying, "We're going to finally have brakes." Well, apparently that isn't what you wanted.
Well, it makes the car drive different. It's one of the things.
Because you can't brake bias it. So.
Yep. It just makes it drive different, so it's another one of them things you have to adapt to. I had to adapt to it the way it drove, and
the other 3 classes can brake bias.
Yep, they have the
like
brake
the steering
bias.
quickener talk, where the hobby can't do either. It doesn't have a quickener and it doesn't have a bias. So.
I was concerned about that quickener thing because I ran that stock car, but that stock car was long enough ago. I just fell right into that hobby stock, no problem. So
You forgot about those new bad habits?
Yeah.
Did you feel that your equipment was on par with competition?
Well, I believe it was right there, yeah.
You didn't feel you weren't outgunned?
No, I think a lot of it came down to the nut behind the wheel, just trying to adjust to a different track, a different racing style. And
a different car.
And a different car. And I'm going to give props where it needs to go. Them are some damn good hobby stock drivers down there. The guys that were there are no slouches. There was 10 or
know how to make the adjustment.
And let's be real. I'm 7-8 years removed from any sort of full-time racing.
Yeah.
I've been a backseat.
So it's hard to find speed when you're spending most of your nights just learning how to
Cody Williams
again.
was gracious enough to have conversations with me. Morgan Olmstead was gracious enough. Dylan Richards talked to me. I was looking for anything and everything. Give me some pointers.
Throw me some bones.
Yep. And I feel from night 1 to night 8, we made definite improvements. Now, to be real, I think our improvements were we went from a 20th place car to a 8th to 12th place car. But we made improvements.
Yeah. I'd still measure that as successful.
Yeah, I'm not. The fact that I was racing in January, it was
Yeah.
successful.
What do you
No
think about
kidding.
that, Jordan? Does that get your juices flowing, or are you thinking, man, there's a lack of green down there on the track?
Well, I visit with Adam often, and of course Peyton Taylor is having his big coast race down there.
Are you putting your car in with his?
Well, so he's invited me for sure, and I laugh, and he laughs a little bit, and he means it, but I don't know. That's why, again, I'm reflecting. It's been 26 years since I was there because we had this conversation. But like you, I have a senior also, so I got to catch those last senior moments myself. But nonetheless, not this year. Not this year. Not with a car, anyways. So.
Here, I'm gonna get a little personal here, and then we can get off the brand and talk for a while. The highlight of the weekend, the highlight of the second weekend, highlight of the whole thing. Let's call it that. We're sitting at Peyton's basketball game. I'm going to tell the story. You guys already heard it. Monday night, I fly home Sunday night. Peyton has a basketball game Monday night while I'm home. And her and I fly out Tuesday to go back down. Jenny's dad is at the basketball game, and he basically looks at me and he goes, I want to go to Arizona with you. Give me a flight. So I go on my phone, and by the end of the basketball game, he has flights to Arizona with us. So, and that's
spring fever.
so he flies down, and Peyton, we drive to Bismarck, get on the plane, we go down. Those two grandpas, my dad was already there because he was down there with Brock the weekend before. Those two grandpas and that granddaughter, she has them grandpas wrapped around her finger. And when she said jump, they both got up and said, how high? They didn't let her get cold. They built her a fire. They didn't let her get hungry. They made her food.
I don't think her daddy's very far behind that either, though.
Probably not.
Great memories.
But
for
then
sure.
they walk over to the grandstands together to watch the races. They go around, and it was a weekend for myself and Peyton to spend some time together, which I cherish like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
But also for her to spend some time with her grandpas.
That's cool.
And it was heartwarming to watch them three together. Brock, we just sat back and watched in amazement, and it was just pretty cool. That was, whether I raced or didn't race or won or didn't win, that's what it was all about, really.
And I have to deal with little 47 at the store.
Grumpy, right?
Dad and Peyton are down at the races.
I bet he was just happy stocking shelves.
Max, you want to go fill the toilet paper in the bathroom?
Okay.
Max, you want to go outside in -20 and get the carts?
Yeah. No wonder your father-in-law was that. He just walked in from the outside at the game. Like,
sidewalk.
I got to get out of here.
No doubt about it. I mean, just again, it'll be lifetime memories. Again,
Yep.
I'm reflecting the last time I was gone in the winter, and we still enjoy the conversation. That's awesome. So, good times.
Yeah. So,
Speaking of Max, when he goes out to get carts, the only thing he wears is a lot of times it's his Sean Strand sweatshirt.
well, but I gave him one of my nice insulated Nuvera ones. He should have had that on the last couple times because I noticed it was moved, so it was a nice heavy insulated sweatshirt that he can put over.
I think is it a purple one?
No, it should be. It's a dark blue one.
Because he still likes to hang with the racing colors.
yeah.
The purple sweatshirt, pink hat.
Yep.
So,
Well, he's
I got on him 'cause
representing Sean. He's out collecting carts.
I seen him one time out there with hardly any clothes on, and it's -20, and I'm like,
he doesn't
dude.
throw a lot on.
I'm like, dude, take care of yourself. Here's a nice heavy sweatshirt. Put this on. And
No, for sure.
Can't mess with the style, though.
yeah. 838 number. I haven't had a Minot number call me in a long time. I wonder
a
if
landline.
somebody's in jail, you think? It's cop shop or what?
Well, I don't know any of those numbers, and I don't know that one.
Think they want to be live on the Dirt Weekly?
They'll leave a message, maybe.
So on to North Dakota stuff. I didn't have a chance to download any of the schedules, but some schedules have been released.
Yeah, schedules are moving around. We had our fall meeting.
Yep.
I rode with you. It was
Yep.
a good time. Side note. So I hop in. So we have our fall meeting that we've talked about often on the show here. We went over to Brandon's office, and other tracks were invited to come, and some zoomed in, and that's the modern day. That's how we do things. But I get in, and what's the radio set at?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
910.
Yeah.
See,
I thought he was setting me up, but he's trying to convert.
I'm telling you right now, though. I went down to Arizona, come back.
It's awesome.
It has not been on 910 since I got back. So I must have been out of practice when I flew down to
Yeah.
Arizona and came
With this
back.
cold weather, I mean, you want to be a sharpshooter on the weather here. You gotta. So having a little fun with the 910 deal. The Snapchat stuff's been pretty fun, and
I think we know who our next sponsor is
it's
for.
still alive and well.
KCJB.
I think you need to call him as often as they're
Yeah.
getting
We
brought up.
we didn't do the SIBO Motorsports rundown. I guess I
Oh.
should have. We're so far out of practice on this
Yeah.
deal, but the rundown is brought to you by
Yeah.
SIBO Motorsports, specializing in high performance parts and chassis repair. Call Ryan today, 701-720-3889.
I was able to just check in with Ryan, get caught up on some stuff, if you will, and he's got a busy shop out there.
Yep. So if
Yeah.
you haven't called and
He's-
got in line,
Yeah,
you're probably too
well,
late.
yeah, you might be. It's the end of January. Use this time wisely. So, but no, he's busy. He got he had some modifieds on one side, he had hobby stocks on the other, and he was busy. He had things to do. So, it's probably been 6 weeks since I caught up with him, but yeah. So
Get in there
just
now.
checked in to say hi.
End
and,
of
we did.
January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
End of January, we got the Daytona 500 coming. Next thing you know, it's the spring show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that. Yeah, true that. So we have our spring show. Tracks get together. Again, great meeting.
Great talks, great meeting. We
Laid
didn't have,
everything out.
We kind of
things-
wasted our gas going to Stanley because
Seemingly.
not very many people showed up. It was only us and then
We
Thunder
bring donuts
Mountain
and pop.
for 2 people, 3 people.
We were full. Yeah. Botno showed up. And then I think everybody else Zoomed.
Yep, everybody else was
Brad
a Zoom
Hardigan
meeting.
with Dickinson Zoomed. Jill Zoomed with Williston. And then Aaron Zoomed with Esteban. And at any rate, we had a couple of dates that were overlapping, but and Underwood was there. Underwood was there. Marcus had Zoomed also, and I was there also. But again, just a productive meeting. Again, we got a full summer of non-conflicting dates. Dickinson is got some dates on top of Williston, but
Do you guys
Brad was on
ever
board.
talk as a group together and say, this is what we would like to see on track? You often talk a lot about Underwood, about how your board is together on what you want to see the track, the moisture level look like. Do you guys ever talk about that? So
It can head that way. Not everybody agrees with that, and that's okay, I suppose too. But the tracks that do agree, for say, if we're going to go with the wetter track, I think it's a great opportunity for tracks to talk about, what are you doing, what am I doing? I'm suffering on this way, how does that work for you? And there is some of that discussion. Very positive stuff. So.
the Estevan boys were there.
Yep, they were
They were on Zoom, and again, the energy in Estevan with this post-COVID life that we're leading now is again, everybody's focused on that border being open, and it is, and things are going forward. The tour stuff is going forward. A lot of cool things are going on. So like last year, there's going to be a lot of racing available. It's awesome. So.
Remember your June. Be careful what you wish for.
Yes, it's going to be a busy June. It's always a busy summer, and it seems almost impossible sometimes, but we have gone through them and got them done. I can reflect that in Underwood we will have a very similar schedule to what we've had in the past.
Did you guys
fair
release it
races
on
and stuff
Facebook yet?
It is. It should be on our Facebook page. We'll have 2 nights at the fair again. Cole County Classic will be at top of August. That's important. Of course, we're going to start your Tougher Than Dirt, which is really important to us. As I was listening to your Arizona story, as I was going to inject, were you able to lasso any travelers for the Tougher Than Dirt?
I think
Positive discussion?
I know Dylan Richards is somewhat saying he's going to come up here. I don't want to put words in his mouth. Him and I talked quite a bit, and he's
Him and
close
Marcus
with
have
the
got him and Marcus-
Tomlinsons.
Yeah, Tomlinsons. They've got a close relationship, and so that would seem possible too, depending on how that may or may not conflict with his local racing. So
I know Morgan Olmsted has plans to come up again, just like he did last year. I don't know. It didn't sound like we were going to get the Tanner Clough to come up again.
okay,
He's taken a year off of racing. He wants to switch to a sport mod, so he's going to take a year off and try to regroup and stuff. And
well, we got that going on right here with you. So with Max, so
yeah,
understandable. Get some seat time in a different car.
Cody Williams, I talked to him. He's going to battle for that national championship. So the problem that we're going to run into there is if he misses any points nights at home, he's not going to make the trip up
Because of the track championship bonus.
And that's what we're going to
Gotta
run
stay in that
into.
hunt.
Either
Yeah.
you choose to run for national points, or you want to chase some money and chase some bigger events, and that's what you kind of run into with some of these travelers. But I definitely let them know who I was. I let them know what I represent, and I tried to do my best sales pitch.
Well,
and I
that
told
means
them
it was good. So
that I told them that as nice as weather it is here, it's really nice in June in North Dakota.
yes, it is. The sun never goes down, even when you want it to.
Yeah, so we're taking sun breaks at 4:30, 5 o'clock at night down there, and I said, so in June in North Dakota, this is 10:30,
Yes.
just to let you know.
This is midday.
Actually, that's very interesting that you bring that up because, you've talked quite a bit about Nodak coming out of 3, looking into the sun.
Yeah.
Arizona, they park it for a while.
You have to. You can't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
They actually. I never was involved in a sun race, but Brock was, and he made it clear. He come off the track and goes, they needed to stop 2 races before they did because you cannot literally see anything. He said, coming out of 2 until you get to the center of 3 and 4, and that is a long damn time to be
like a big track. So yeah,
to be
it's
without
breath holding.
sight.
It's breath holding. I mean, you blame it on a scratchy shield or something only for so long. Pretty soon you got everything perfect, and it's still too much. You're driving
Yeah.
with a hand in front of you. You're going 70, 80 miles an hour. You're like, this is not good.
One time
Please let the sun
I
go down.
crossed to the infield.
So-
One time my heat race crossed into the infield, and Sport Mods were right before us. Or I think it was Sport Mods that were right before us. And they told us over the receiver that the Sport Mod heat on the track was going to be the last race, and then they were taking a half hour, 45-minute sun break. And we got out of our car. I got out of the car, and I could see them Sport Mod guys down the back straight. They're literally, if you
Yeah.
can imagine driving a full-blown race car up on the bars, whipping down the back straightaway, and you got your one hand out in front of you trying to find the corner.
Trying to get the glare off.
And they said you could not see corner entry. That's how bad it was. You couldn't even see where you were on the track. So
I can only imagine.
they had to do something and take a
Sometimes
sun
those
break.
NASCAR guys talk about that with their windshield and their
Yeah.
helmet shield. Oh my goodness, it's got to be just terrible. So, yeah,
So
I appreciate tracks that take sun breaks for sure.
I downloaded a few of these. Let's use this one here. We're gonna go through these. Where should we start? You want to start with McLean and just talk about the McLean schedule here
We can
real
do
quick?
that real quick.
Who's your defending Sport Mod Tougher Than Dirt champion?
Gabe Deshaw.
Thought so. Now seeing Speeton doing as well as he did down in Arizona.
The issue with Speeton, it's not an issue. I shouldn't even say the issue. The difference between Speeton and a lot of others is he's not going to race for points. You'll never. June is prime. They farm.
Yeah.
But would he run your tour is what I'm saying.
He has showed up a few nights before in the past,
Been
but he
in
never
Glenwood
hits the
night.
whole thing. He didn't plan on running the whole thing down there, but after the first weekend, he was leading points. And I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but the points champion got a trip for 2 to a resort down in Mexico somewhere.
Right, because they sponsored the event.
Playa Azul Resorts
Yeah.
or whatever. So I mean,
yeah,
when
right.
you're at that point, and he's already in the doghouse because he's in Arizona racing, and she's at home in North Dakota.
Oh, that
You might as well stay the second weekend. This was his thought process. I asked him about it.
punishment's the same.
Punishment's the same. You might as well win her a trip
yeah.
to a resort.
That meant some fences.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like it shouldn't bark as bad.
Yeah.
Bringing home a
I
vacation.
think we need to reach out to some of these vacation places and do that for the Tougher Than Dirt Tour, so that way it can mend some fences with marriages
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Getting
Anybody wanna
replaced on
jump-
the farming side.
Anybody want to jump on my marketing team and start reaching out?
Well, let's keep it fluid. Uh-huh.
McLean County
Okay.
schedule 2024 released on the McLean County Speedway Facebook page. So if you're looking for this, it is on the Facebook page. Similar, as you said, to last year.
Yes.
Opening nights that last weekend in May, or
Yep.
the weekend before Memorial Day.
Yep, and then we want to get in an event before we go right into the Tougher Dirt. We want to make sure everything's up to speed, our transponders and everything's working right, our PA systems and stuff like that. So we will start on May 24th. That'll be a regular night, our opening night. We'll go into the Tougher Than Dirt. I believe that's a Tuesday, right?
Yep, it's Tuesday night.
So we'll open that tour with you. Now, the Tougher Than Dirt this year is going to be exciting because we got Legend cars added, and
Yep.
not only added, but then they split off and come back.
Yep.
So,
So yeah, the
Maybe you want to touch on that.
Tougher Than Dirt Tour added the INX Legends. For those that haven't heard, we've partnered up with the Legendary Tour, they call it, and
It's
so,
been talked about the last couple of seasons. It's
but
no-
we're trying to do it in baby steps. We're trying to do it that benefits both legends, legend racetracks,
Yeah.
and the Tough of the Dirt
and the
Tour.
tour itself.
We're trying to, so the Legends are going to go ahead and go Underwood on the 4th, Dickinson on the 5th. Then they're going to have a night off. They're not going to be anywhere on the 6th. Then they're going to pick up with Mandan on the 7th, which is a Friday. With the same time, on that Thursday, we are going to be at the Williston Basin Speedway with the hobbies and the sport mods. And then we're going to go up to Estevan on that Friday night. They will be in Mandan. And then they're going to go to Jamestown for Saturday night. We're going to Botno. And then we're going to meet up.
And then
and
all
crown
three will come
champions
back on Sunday night in
in
Minot.
Minot. So how cool is that?
That is cool.
Well, it's planning. Just like
It is planning.
Legends are hot. You know, I mean,
They are.
Right now they're at
A
their
lot of
peak.
car count.
I
and,
think. I think
we-
they're at the peak.
We originally talked that they were going to follow my whole tour. But after visiting with Preston Martin and a handful of other Legend guys, Brandon Anderson, we just thought to get this thing going and get the wheels turning and off the ground, they decided to create their own tour, which props to them, the Legendary Tour. I think that's great. And I have no problem partnering up with somebody if they want to do this stuff so we can, because all it is promoting racing.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, Mandan it's a regular track from that
Yep.
makes sense. It
Yep.
wasn't for Dickinson or Williston. And we want to have them enough nights to crown a champion at our track too.
Yep.
So they're catching what they can and it still being, their regular tracks, if you will. But to loop around and come back and meet in Minot, I think it's just cool. I mean,
it's gonna be a fun
two
night.
things
It's
to
neat when
watch.
you got big names. Tony Stewart's dad's running one. Kevin Harvick's son, who was supposed to be racing.
Hey, maybe we'll get him up here for that.
Yeah. Well, I think we've had sightings in the past. Did we have weather that got him or
Yep.
something?
Yeah, we got
On that one weekend. So
rained out or something.
yes. So I think that's exciting. Again, I'm a tougher than dirt tour guy, so
And then
I like that.
The fair weekend, bringing late
fair
models
weekend.
in again.
We are not going to bring in late models. We are going to concentrate on our regular classes. Now, just an overview. Stock cars will race for at least $1,000 5 different times on our schedule. So
I need to throw that hobby stock license in the garbage and get that stock car license and wheel Brock's car or what?
Well, I mean, yeah, see, again, another technical moment here. You can't run a hobby in a stock ar. You can't hold a license in both. You have
That's
to
why
pick
I
one
gotta
or
throw
the
it
other.
away.
So then you got to forfeit all your Arizona stuff, which is over now anyway, but then you would have to hop in a stock car. So, so with that said, again, be some different events there that are over $1,000 for stock cars. So the fair race is going to concentrate on our regular classes. That will also be track points night stuff. Our Tony Niffen Memorial and our Tough Truck Night, which was at the end of the tour last year.
You're going to try it at the beginning of
We're
the
going
tour.
to try it at the beginning of the tour this year. So that's going to be the 5th. As we have shared, we weren't able to put together, reflecting back on our fall show, or our fall meeting, our tracks getting together. With the 4th being on Thursday, it was too far away from the previous weekend to put that 5-dayer together that we did last year. So it's going to be just one of those years that doesn't happen. We'll still have some weekend racing. But the 5th then, we would normally have our big mod show on that previous Friday. But because of how Mandan's able to put their new rodeo grounds together and stuff like that, they're not taking off the weekend like they've had.
Right.
So we want the Mandan mods there too. So we're going to do the mods and the stock car special on the Friday the 5th. So, which is also starts the tour week. So, again, it's got a lot of potential of excitement there. So, we're going to have a couple of regular nights in July there. We have to get in enough nights to crown champions in our classes.
Yep.
So we're gonna jump on Minot Sunday nights on the 14th and 28th. We're gonna start at 6 o'clock.
Because Minot wouldn't be racing them weekends.
Right, with the fair break, Minot won't be racing, and so that allows us to pick up a couple of dates there. Our championship night will be the 28th, which is the Sunday after the fair is over, and then we'll come back the following weekend with the Cole County Classic.
And you talked about planning, so you have talked to the good Lord upstairs about leaving the Cole County Classic alone.
Boy, I mean, don't do it to us twice.
I mean, even if it's like depression, drought,
yeah,
let it be.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right, the damage is done by then, so let us race too. I like it. So
you want to talk about Arizona. Let's count these nights up. So you have May 24th is 1, June 4th is 2, 15th, 16th, that's 4. The Niffen Memorial, 5, 6, 7 for championship night, 8, 9. How many did I just race in Arizona?
Yeah. Yeah, you just ran the whole Underwood deal in 2 weekends. Yeah.
I'm
It's kind of greedy.
I might as well retire for the year.
Are you fatigued?
Wore out.
Yeah. Sore?
No.
No.
You don't get sore driving a race car. No
well,
matter how sore you think you are, you're not sore.
If they're set up real bad, you might, especially without a quickener. So that's our Underwood schedule. We're excited about that. I think we did actually touch on the Nodak schedule when Smallsy was here. I'm really excited for that because it's going to be a whole different format for points racing, or at least different than what we've been used to for a while, and well, actually ever, as far as when it ends.
Hey, you guys like how I do this? I cover me up. So I can give funny pictures and funny.
It's really cool that you can put it on there like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we'll
just to
transition
reflect real
yeah.
quick. In the past, that's actually your deal. I was just saying. Yeah, go ahead.
Normally, traditionally, that last weekend in August is a championship night. You race all summer, has been forever. Something that's been in the works since, I'm going to call it 2019.
Yeah.
Because it's been tossed around by several people since 2019. Smalls and the board of directors have finally pulled the ripcord on it, and they're going to give it a shot. That June 30th is now championship night. What does that mean? That means all of your main 4 classes are going to race every night until June 30th.
Right. So what that means is that where we've traditionally taken a class off on some nights, for the point season now being from the beginning of May to the end of June, 10 nights of racing, there will be no classes off.
Correct.
It is going to be 10 weekends of intense points racing for all the classes. I think it's exciting.
That should be met with fanfare.
It should be. Well, it's even being met with driver fanfare. So when that announcement was made, I happened to be able to get uptown a little bit and ran into a driver, and he said, I'll tell you, he said, the fact that I could race points and still go to the lake in July, he said, is a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's angles on this that I haven't even come up with yet, but I thought that was an important one. So, and then Smalls also shared that he was going to make this financially attractive. I mean, he was going to make good money on the, put up good money on this stuff. So it's a short season. It's an intense season. I call it deadliest catch season. I mean, you're going to have your car ready, pay attention. It's going to be 10 nights. Even if you have a bad night, you can't stay away because everybody was probably going to have a bad night. So I think it's exciting.
Well, as much as you raced last year in June when we talked about that aggressively, you're not getting a night off in Nodak then this June, which you did last year.
Yeah. So
good point. You're going to be staying focused on the deal. Then we have the 4th real quick. Then we have the fair break. They're going to come back with some different stuff in August. Even the regular class will race
everybody races once in August.
Followed by Motor Magic at the end.
Then followed by Motor Magic. And Monty Lundy Memorial is a race that's August 18th. That's something put on by the Monty Lundy family. Money, good purse. We announced the purse on the Dirt Weekly here a month or so ago. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Go back in our archives and find it.
It's going to be a good time to celebrate Monty on that deal.
I've heard many positives. I had a conversation with Will Shareski the other night at the basketball game. TGU, he was there supporting TGU, and I was there supporting Bishop Ryan after the game was done. I said I thought I seen a washed-up old stock car driver in the stands, but Jordan wasn't there. So,
oh boy!
But
young guys.
He talked nothing but good about it. But he said that there has been conversations that he's had with some people that maybe are looking at it in a negative sense. They feel like we just took, what's the point of having a race car if you can't race in August? I hear you. The amount of race nights that you get at the Nodak Speedway is the same this year in 2024 as it was in 2023, 22, 21.
It is.
When we did the class rotation. The amount of nights is the same.
It's it's been organized differently.
Yes.
That Monty Lundy Memorial Night, I really like that idea. And what gets me thinking is the Jack McDonald car that Camaro painted up in Jamestown, the Bob Simmers car, and they did up a really nice modified in John Gall's scheme.
Uh-huh.
Where is that?
I think Troy and Heidi have.
No?
Yeah, it might be out at Jeff and Lori's, or Troy and Heidi Gunch down at John's daughter down in Bismarck. It's in one of those two places, but nice reflection on the past.
I would like to see that more.
Yep. And
Steve Harris had put that together, so
there was talk of Nodak trying to acquire the car, giving some money to the family. I don't think it ever really went anywhere. We were trying to figure out what to do, this, that, so we could maybe put it under the grandstands and have it there more often. It's kind of one of them things where you get busy with schedules, you get busy with this and busy with this, running a racetrack.
And who's going to shepherd it? So.
And who's going to take care of it? And where does it go in the winter? And you know, you have hundreds of questions of what's going to happen here, what's going to happen there, and
nonetheless still available.
Yes,
it is garaged at one of those two places, to the best of my knowledge.
But really cool to remember our past like that. With
and I hope that becomes a yearly thing. I feel terrible because I had this big event planned for my mom, All-Star Night, Bonnie Beater Memorial All-Star Night, and I did it 2 or 3 years, and it just, the drivers didn't buy into it the way I thought they were going to, the way I had it formatted. So I shelved it, and I want to come back with something someday, and I just haven't
Your
figured
first night of Motor Magic stuff.
Yeah, the first night of Motor. I think we did it 2 years in a row, and then the third year we kind of spread it around between all 3 nights or something, and I just
yeah, we might need to revisit that to really get the effect that you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to create a unique event, and that's what's cool about the Monty Lundy Memorial. It's the family putting it together. They created the purse. They wanted to create an event for Monty's honor, in Monty's honor. And that's all you really want. And you want something that's going to last. You know, and if you fail or not fail, if it doesn't succeed, you just regroup and do it again.
Yeah.
And you figure it out. So exciting summer here.
A little bit of what this represents, and I know we've talked about this a few times, but I want to talk about it again because this is the start of this. There's been some talk of Travis Haig and yourself.
Yep.
I mean, we've talked about trying to make August more of a September-type format. And with the Governor's Cup at the end of July, the Cole County at the top of August, some things are kind of moving around and starting to represent that. With the NODAC point schedule being done before the fair break, that sets up that also. So Esteban's not here yet on this next deal, but like their Dirt Wars is in July. I would like to see them have a Motor Magic type weekend the weekend before Motor Magic. And the reason I say that is their kids don't start school till after Labor Day. So it would still be a viable weekend for them where they could have a year-end deal without, you know, they're the farthest north track, if you will, or whatever. It's just hard to do something for them in October where maybe this points racing could be more consolidated early in the year and have more of that specials in the fall without being so weather controlled.
The other thing that this does,
and/or school stuff happening controlled.
For those that are diehard racers, and that's all they want to do. They have no interest in going to the lake. They have no interest in doing the other things in life with their family. If you're that diehard racer, Iowa Speed Weeks is in August. You can do something like 10 nights of racing
and
in
Smallsy
14
reflected
days
on that.
or something.
I mean, we have guys that want to go to that, but they get hands tied to the points racing, so they get denied the Harris Clash.
And there might
only
be one or two, but in this scenario, them one or two that want to go take that in have the opportunity to go take that in.
So how does this affect the farmers then? You know, they're in August. They'd have to be a prisoner to giving up racing for the harvest.
Well,
exactly.
Well, that's certainly the dialogue.
Somebody like Stephen Pfeiffer, who needs to plant in May and harvest in August, and he misses the August races. Well, this might be something to where he can, you know what, I'm going to make sure I'm there in May. Yeah. We'll be done planting in June so I can visit the June races. Then I don't have to worry about August.
Yeah.
I can come back for the fall specials.
However, come back for Motor Magic.
Yep.
I appreciate your Pfeiffer analogy, but that's not an issue with them anymore since Karen's taking care of the combines now. She's got it. The boys can go play.
Yeah, it's going to be harder to not come racing.
Yeah,
because he's got more help.
So
Karen
hopefully,
and Mom got to stay home and keep the farm
like
going.
Race
That's
fans.
Awesome.
Hopefully, race fans embrace this. Do you know when the true test of whether this is a success or not, or whether people like it or not? Do you guys really know when the true test is going to come?
Well, opening night.
No, August 4th. When everybody wakes up August 4th morning, and we're running wingless. Looks like sport compact, stock cars, slingshots, and legends. It looks like. When the modified drivers that don't travel wake up on August 4th, that's when you're going to find out if this is
Well, that
They like it or
happened.
not?
whether they
Well,
like
your
it or not.
hardcore guys are going to go, what's this?
Right.
That's what they're going to do. Another thing I want to touch on there, backing up to the point side of it, we had our banquet there and stuff like that there. Each class has got less than 5 cars that made all the nights.
Yep.
So I think it needed something. I really do. It needed something positive. So I think consolidating it and making it a shorter season could maybe keep the attention of more racers.
Yeah.
Combined with Smallsy's going to spice it up with some money. That never hurts. So now instead of it being a 4-month chase, it's a 2-month chase, and good, bad, or ugly, you can recollect yourself and decide if you had a good time and want to keep on going, or maybe you had enough. Because we see racers that have had enough by the fair break.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just have had enough. So.
Guys, I got so many ideas that go with this.
So-
Can you imagine
so
a
I think-
bracket? Can you imagine like a bracket style race, that there's a race within the race to where you're not only racing for a championship, but you're racing
Yeah.
for a pot of money at the end? Where
You got a king of the hill in the middle of it?
well, no, like you don't
Sorta.
change the format of the actual race itself. You still
I see.
run a heat race. You still run a feature.
But your
But-
position goes towards other things.
But within the feature, like Jordan is leading points and Adam Goff is 8th in points. Well, on that given night, those two, whoever finishes ahead of who, goes on to the next round and the next round, and we narrow it down to where there's like a race within the race that crowns a champion or crowns a winner.
Did you get green positions or red positions type of deal?
Right.
So
right.
so it's,
Right.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's things like that put a spin on it. So
Oh, I got. Where do you want
Yeah.
me? You think I'm crazy?
Oh
but
no, I
If-
want to.
if weather don't kill us, this 10 race deal is going to be intense.
After
We got money at it
the
too.
ticket
so.
booths are done selling tickets, then they start taking wagers, and he can start betting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not out loud.
Where do you want me to set that up at in the grandstands?
You know, life is better with money
You
on
guys
the
better
line.
call the state first.
Craig and Renee, close your ears. Let's see. What do we got
So-
next on our side of the world? You want to roll
we got
Williston?
Williston Estevan.
Let me load it in here. Uh-oh.
You remember them Calcutta days, boy? Those got to be some pretty. Vance Castleman would go down there and he'd throw some
Yeah.
heavy money around.
Yeah, those people still reflect on it there. And Estevan hasn't had them since COVID, but they had them before COVID. And that needs to get renewed too. Those are pretty fun.
Yeah. Williston looks similar to last year. I think a few less nights, it looks like. They were going to try to condense some stuff down. Maybe not some money makers that they've had in the past. They have a new board over there. Troy Girolamo's the president. G-Man with G-Style Trucking. So Jill is still on the board. There's still some familiar faces, but a new one that's in charge with kind of what's going on over there. So they have their band day. Then they have their regular, they usually do 2 nights in May.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hit the Tougher Than Dirt Tour plus their fair. That's pretty common for what they have there.
Yep. Yeah, and their fair requires different things at different times too. So
Yep.
I thought there was some dialogue about that, although I see it is a 2-day deal. I'm not sure all the classes.
Yeah, I
Right
think
at
that's
this
up
point.
for debate right
yeah,
now.
maybe that was the change. Maybe it was going to be half a 1 day. They got to get done on a certain time periods, and we understand that.
And then July has the mod tour.
And they have the same agreement with the Lord that you do with the Cole County Classic. They got to get this one this year. They lost
Yeah.
theirs last year.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
twice, didn't they?
I think I don't think the mod tour has actually raced in Williston for about 3 or 4 years.
Right. That's
I
what
think
I'm
they've gotten
thinking, too,
canceled
so-
quite a few years in a
Oh
row
my
here.
God. Yeah.
They usually do the mod tour and then one more race program in July, and then the 2 nights in August. Now, August is going to look similar with Williston and Estevan. The difference is Minot's not going to be on that Sunday.
Yeah. With these regular classes.
With these regular classes, but the dual championship weekend is still there with Williston and Estevan. in August, you're going to have, I think Williston runs a Friday night on the 9th. Estevan will be on the 10th. Then the
Yeah.
weekend of the 24th, that August
It's
24th,
flipped.
it's flipped. Estevan is Friday the 23rd, and Williston is the 24th.
Yeah.
Now,
Are you getting this subliminal message off the schedule?
what's
are,
that?
Are you seeing the 67?
I didn't see it. Yeah, look at that. Oh, no, I wasn't paying attention. Look at that. Yeah. Wow. 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 Well, it's the little things. I didn't catch that.
I
Look
hope
at
I
that.
was hoping they
It
could
is there.
zoom out just a little bit, see if the
Yeah.
drive shaft is on the front
Yeah.
still.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Look at that. Well, it wasn't in colors, so it's hard to tell. That is cool. Right on. Yeah. So, like I say, Wilson's got a little bit of change in people there, but again, it's a community that likes to race, and they are. Like I said, I think they're a night or two short too. For some reason, I think that.
I
but
feel like they are.
again, them and Williston aren't a weekly track. So again, they work with each other, which is awesome, and they do, and yeah, again, a non-conflicting summer coming up. So.
Fall roundup, normal fall roundup. I'm guessing did they switch to Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday again?
I want to say Saturday, Sunday, but
I prefer the Saturday, Sunday with an early start on Sunday.
yeah.
If I had a preference, let's go
They have the dates there. I can't. What 14th,
14th to 15th.
I
So
don't know what day that is. As we know, school Fridays. Got school stuff on Fridays, mainly football. So, and even if you have
I'm
daughters,
getting-
they still go.
I'm
and
getting
it's still messed up.
messages with track schedules right now, which is
Yeah.
good. I don't
Yeah.
mind people messaging in if they got a track schedule for us to put up. So
So that July, we know that Nodak is light in July because of the fair break.
Get
Williston
get
just
Brad's
had
on there too, Dick.
two.
yeah,
Who's getting the benefit of the extra nights in July? Underwood, I think, had.
We're doing Sundays, which other people don't take anyway. So that wasn't going to happen. We didn't work that out with anybody. Nobody wants Sundays. As great as Sundays has been for Minot, it's not the popular night. From a generic point of view. So.
Agreed. I mean,
So-
it's not popular even.
And even us, which don't ever want to start early, we start early because of the obvious. Monday morning is still Monday morning. So, and we know you're an hour from Minot, and that's where
We
the
don't-
majority of our racers come from. So.
we don't have a whole bunch of viewers tonight. We're obviously not in people's minds
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, see.
We've taken too many weeks
Yeah,
off,
we're
but
Get out of the habit.
Yeah.
I hope people that are watching this afterwards enjoy or appreciate or whatever these schedule releases on here. I know I'm getting some messages from people. They like it. The 4 viewers that are watching are talking to me, but we want to roll Estevan. I got Estevans up here right now, and then we'll go to the Southwest Speedway in Dickinson as well. And then Botno sent me theirs. They haven't released it yet. They don't have a poster, but we can kind of run through the dates.
Yeah.
If it,
they were in attendance at our fall meeting
Yep.
too. So.
Yep. Estevan also looks a little light to me.
May 4th.
Not unusual. They're usually before
Yep.
band days. So.
Yep. May 4th they're usually that first weekend in May.
Yeah.
And then they alternate. If we bring the Williston back up side by side, you'll notice that they're not the same Saturday. They're off a Saturday.
Yeah. They either or.
The
Kind of, sort of.
the thing that kind of throws you here to me is they race that June 22nd, then they have a mod tour, and then they come all the way back in the 20th, 21st of July, almost a full month. But it's
I think what we see is tracks just a little nervous around that North Dakota State Fair.
Yep.
And I get it. I mean, we're taking advantage of some Sundays, and well, actually, in Underwood, we're not. We're ahead of it or behind it.
But traditionally, that Dirt Wars is always that weekend
I
in
would say
July.
that's going to be Dirt Wars. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That doubleheader in July is Dirt
So-
Wars. That's when Brandon made his debut last year, and maybe that's when I'll make my debut again. My boss asked me why I haven't shaved yet, and I said, well, I can't shave till I win a race. And he goes, oh, when do you plan
Ooh.
on racing next? I go, July. He goes, oh, man.
Was that policy?
No, it's just a joke. I
Oh.
was just
You look like ZZ Top if things don't go right. That'd be a tough one.
Hey, well, speaking of that, we need to celebrate the Motley Crew's coming to the fair.
Hey, not only coming to the fair because Robbie had texted me. I go, yeah, but that's going to be Dirt Wars. And he texted me back an hour later. He goes, no, Dirt Wars is Saturday, Sunday, not Friday.
Oh,
So,
boy.
Bring it on.
See,
bring it on.
Look at the
So
level of music. You go from Conway Twitty, tight-fitting jeans to girls.
back to back. Exactly. If you know, you know.
Yeah,
You
so
know.
so what your maybe thought is that Friday, that August 23rd, maybe in the future, maybe as we go to the scheduling meetings in the future, that can become kind of Estevan's doubleheader weekend, like their fall doubleheader.
Yeah.
Because that would be
Yeah.
the weekend before Motor Magic.
Yes,
That's kinda what
that's
you
what
were-
I think would be a good weekend for them. So because they've tried fall shows, they've done it on the Estevan week, or I'm sorry, on the Boone weekend, and I think it would be advantageous for them to do it before school starts, which would be
Yep.
before Motor Magic, where
And-
the rest of us are already going by then, school wise. The states have got school. North Dakota's got schools going by the 19th of August area. So.
And, you know, just a friendly PSA, I have a calendar built with all these dates in it because I do that for Darn TV so I can schedule everything out for the whole summer. I'll go ahead and share that calendar, a link to that calendar for everybody. I can do it on the Dirt Weekly page or my own page or whatever. It's just helpful to have the full calendar outlook of the whole summer.
I guess what will really steer this going forward is if the Minot schedule is well received and attended.
Yes.
Because then those August dates become
Flexible.
you got a Saturday, Sunday possible.
Yeah.
Possible. I think Minot had it to be announced the week before because there's some dialogue that the powers that be think that a 3-day Motor Magic shouldn't be preceded by a race 4 days ahead of that.
Correct.
That having that whole weekend off is not a bad thing.
And there's
so
been talks
that
of
really opens it up. I'm putting
Yep.
Estevan on. I think it would be a great Estevan weekend because their school hasn't started yet. So that's just what I think. So I
Yep.
have not told that to anybody, and maybe Aaron thinks I'm crazy. So, but I think having a race in Estevan that isn't your normal weekly points lineup that we've talked about, you know, where you got the draw straight up or whatever you're doing type of deal there, I think that would be a moneymaker for them, and it'd be a great way to close out the season.
Yep.
They're Cole
Absolutely.
County, they're Motor Magic, they're fall roundup. So that's what I think.
Absolutely. And
without
you're-
the weekly points stuff that comes with that.
So we've kind of went through some of the fall specials. You have the Motor Magic. You have the fall roundup. Those are kind of bookend of Boone. Motor Magic's before Boone,
on the front, back.
and then the week after Boone ends is always the fall roundup. Well, that weekend in between, that championship weekend of Boone, has been Southwest Speedway,
Yeah.
Dickinson.
Yeah, it's been Brad's deal. So.
You're going to notice now when I pull this up that weekend is not there.
Yeah. Brad come to the meeting there, and he had just grounded dialogue on how he's doing stuff. He mentioned that he's involved with the Commerce on some weekends there, and he was just being careful about even the farm industry we all got to deal with and stuff like that. He really in his own words was just cutting the risk of some of those weekends that just hadn't been good to him in the past. So
Yep.
So his schedule is a little bit smaller. I still think it's good. I still think there's enough nights if the weatherman stays friendly. But, he had shared, I guess we're looking at it here now. But
Yeah, he's going to open up that May 25th. I think that's one of the nights that overlaps with Williston. There are a few nights that overlap with Williston.
they couldn't.
Because of some things that he had going on with
the city.
With the
He had, I can't remember what days they call it, Rough Rider days, I think.
But what he's trying to do is get more involved in the community of Dickinson and trying to get people to come out to the track. Because if nobody's been to the Southwest Speedway, it is a little bit of a journey from the actual city of Dickinson.
It's 10 miles south of town. It's you can't hear the cars running. Nothing draws you there. You have to know what's going on.
You have to know that there's racing. So he has become, and which is more power to him. I mean, to be real, he's got to be able to figure out a way to make money and keep the track going down there without really worrying about other people or other racetracks. Because without him thinking about the financials and keeping it rolling, we don't have the Southwest Speedway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's doing what he thinks makes sense as a business because he is a promoter and it is his business.
And it is his business, yeah.
Um,
When you work hard, you don't want to lose $5,000.
So, and Brad,
week after week after week.
the communication with Brad this year has been top notch.
Oh. I've enjoyed his input. I've
Yep.
enjoyed his logic, and I'm looking forward to even a closer friendship with him. So.
Yeah, and you see he's going to run the 25th, and then he's got June 1st, and then the Tough of the Dirt Tour, and then he goes all the way to the 29th. And then that July 6th is actually, I think it's opening night of the Dakota Mod Tour.
The 6th is, yep.
The
yeah,
6th is.
Yeah, okay, Rough Rider Days. There
Yep.
it is right there, yeah. Yeah.
And he is required, or in a sense, required to put on a race that weekend
Yeah.
for Rough Rider Days.
And I get that.
Yep.
In Underwood, we got to put races on at the fair, so I understand what he's doing there. Naturally, he doesn't want to go on top of a tour night per se, but he has to because of that celebration. So, and he's going to do it with classes that aren't conflicting.
Yeah, so he's going to bring
That's
the
understandable.
non-wing sprint cars in, no stock cars or modifieds that night. So,
But that's a pretty good gap. Jamestown to Dickinson should.
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
you're gonna allow your other classes, the hobbies and the sport mods, and then the non-wing sprint cars and the legends. You're gonna be able to put on a show with them 4 classes, no problem. And the mods and stock cars that want to go over to Jamestown, go over to Jamestown.
Yeah, and you're appeasing the commerce, and I'm sure there's sponsorship money
Yep.
there. So
Yep.
I get it. I get it. Even if it don't make sense, I do get it. You get it. We get it. So
And then they're gonna come back on July 10th, and then championship night is all the way. They're the opposite weekend of Estevan and Williston. They're on that August 17th, the in between weekend.
the middle one.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Hey, if I'm living in Dickinson, I'm loving that 6th and the 10th
yep.
together like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 days apart from one another.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they do it again.
Yeah.
They do it again in June. At the beginning of June, you have races 4 nights apart from one another, and then again in July.
And as all of us tracks always discuss, I mean, we're a volunteer-based deal, and it's probably easier to corral that group and concentrate on a 2-weekend deal and then give them a month off. I mean, it's logistics, and sometimes we're quick to judge, but when you understand,
And then
the behind the scenes,
he
it
moved
does make
his
sense.
he moved his Richard Jordan Memorial back another weekend. It originally started in June. You know, the Richard Jordan Memorial was in June, and then it conflicted with Williston a night, and guys didn't know if they wanted to
Yeah.
go down there, stay in Williston. It was kind of confusing. So last year he moved it to the weekend of championship, Boone
Yes,
Super
the
Nationals.
Boone weekend, Super Nationals weekend. Yep.
And this year he moved it to the Friday night before Fall Roundup. So you're able to hit 3 nights of racing if you so desire. Friday in Dickinson,
Catch
then
him.
go up in Saturday,
Catch
Sunday.
Williston Saturday, Sunday.
I answered my own question from before if I couldn't remember if it was Friday, Saturday, or Saturday. I just answered my
Yeah,
own question,
that's
Craig.
That works.
I remember the conversation now when we did it.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, dang. It's there. Just read it.
Yeah.
No. Again, kudos to Brad. He's got to work with his town, and he is. Everything was real grounded and explained. I like that. So good on them. They'll have a good season.
Botno schedule. Do
Yes.
we want to?
Let's touch
we
base
don't,
on that,
We don't
but-
have a flyer yet.
No, they. Let's see, you must have something there.
Yeah, I got
So-
Chris Yost sent me their schedule. I'm not sure.
Their main classes are going to be hobbies, sport mods, and compacts.
Yeah, and then their
They'll have their
bomber
own
class.
enduro bomber car
Yep.
type of deal. Uh-huh.
And then slingshots. I believe they're going to run slingshots on a more regular basis.
We're going to have slingshots a couple times too.
So
I'll just say that.
they're May 25th in May. I think that overlaps with Dickinson and Williston. That gives us 3 on that night. Choices made. June 8th, they're the Saturday night of the Tough of the Dirt Tour. That Saturday night, it's also the Robbie Conway Memorial. We partner up with the Conway family to do the Robbie Conway Memorial. What are you looking at, the forecast over there? or
Well,
what?
I was just going to say, it obviously, all the tracks right now feel lonely and snow-covered, and this seems like a long ways away. But my goodness,
We're going to be in the 40s next week?
40s. We got a 50 sighting next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Holy
I'm seeing
47,
52.
45.
See, I went to Arizona and brought it back with me.
Well,
I mean, it's
go next year.
that groundhog.
Go next month.
He ain't seeing his shadow.
June
Yeah.
29th, they're going to go June 29th at the end of June, then the 13th and the 27th. I think they're filling in. They're the day before you, the Saturday before you guys in July. I think that's how that works.
Yes,
You guys are
yes.
the 14th and the 28th.
Yeah. We want to try to complement each other on that deal. So.
Then again, they're opposite of Williston and Estevan. They're August 17th for a championship night. Then they they have a rain day because you have to run 6 nights. So if they have any rainouts in there, August 24th is their rain out.
Yeah.
And you have to, in IMCA's world, you have to put that in there at the beginning of the year. You can't add it as
You can't
the
add it. So you got to have 6 scheduled at least, and you got to run 4 for sure.
Yep.
So,
So they're putting that in there now to let IMCA know that this is
that's their plan.
that's their plan because you can't, contrary to popular belief,
Do
can't
anything you want.
You can't just do anything you want, schedule whatever you want.
No matter how much sense it makes, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
now
good on them.
I didn't realize this. I bet I don't have that on my schedule. I didn't. Maybe I forgot in all the talks. September 7th and 8th. That's that Boone Championship weekend. That Super Nationals Championship weekend. They're going to run a doubleheader. So they'll be
That's
by
right.
themselves.
That's right.
That
Yeah,
weekend.
That's right. They did take advantage of that because Brad had moved to Friday.
Yeah.
on the-
Last year it was
fall
overlapped.
roundup,
You had both going on. You had the
Yeah.
Dickinson deal and the Botno deal.
Location-wise, they're plenty far enough apart, but nonetheless, there's not always enough cars to go make both shows huge.
How about that? 5 schedules released. How exciting is that?
Dakota Speedway, they don't got one out there yet?
I didn't see one. They
I
put
see they had a
te-
sign-up deal.
they had a teaser out there.
Yeah.
Who else would we that's kind of our
I
western
did see
half.
that Devil's Lake showed that they are having an opener on April 13th. Now, that's a little bit out of our jurisdiction, but nonetheless, let's just reflect. You were just looking up the weather. Now, April 13th is only 2.5 months away.
It happens so quick.
Oh, boy.
It's hard to believe it's end of January.
Oh, boy. Oh,
I
boy.
do not see a Dakota Speedway one. They have a teaser out there, but they don't have a
Full schedule. I see they wanted a sign-up deal so you get their schedule. I did not sign up, but nonetheless, reflect on Devil's Lake there, April 13th. You're like, you're crazy. I will tell you, the year Mindy was born, so that'd be 2001. We raced in Underwood the 3rd week in April, and it was 85 degrees out. It was downright hot. So,
But what's the condition of the track at that time? Has the frost come out of it?
Yeah, it was green and it was dry. I remember it, but Tina had made a scrapbook for Mindy when she was born, so we have pictures from when we were at the races that day. She was 3 months old. So, but so we have raced and it's been hot in April. So I seen Dickinson throwing out that their openers on the 13th. And I thought, no way.
Devil's Lake.
Or I'm sorry, Devil's Lake. And yes, and I'm like, yeah.
well,
That year we had the flood. The spring after that, we had a early spring. So
it's
gotta be brave enough.
it's
to
one of
schedule.
them things. You might as well put it on the schedule. Mandan, I bet, puts their schedule out, and they have some early weeks.
I bet they got some April stuff. They usually do.
There's nothing wrong
They
with
play the game weather permitting, and
Yep.
that way it's scheduled. So if it is 55 degrees out, which is warm enough in the spring, we're all dying to get outside.
and
That's logical.
expect craziness from the old meddler. If he might not put on a race program, but he's going to.
Well, we're practicing the King of the Hill.
Yep. Yeah.
Type of deal. So.
That's how you do that in August or in April.
Yeah.
So is there any rumors out there as far as like, we were talking about Sean Strand maybe going into a different chassis, leaving the Rage. Has that been confirmed at all?
I have not seen anything materialize on that, but yeah, we did kind of leave. We did kind of leave with crazy,
Because what
whatever you
got me
wanna call that.
thinking that is watching the mod race down in Arizona, Tim Ward running the Rage, and Baca gets him, and so right away I'm like, what's he running?
Well, Tim Ward should be in that precision
Precision.
car, right? The Performer.
There you go.
They're the
there you go.
Performer, rather,
But
yeah.
Baca was driving a Harris,
Yep, one of the only Harris cars down there. As
and
far as I
and
understood.
that gets
And
you
all
thinking,
last year
Yeah.
won his championship with that. I wasn't sure if he was still in a Harris car when you started talking, but obviously. he
Yeah,
is,
they
so.
interviewed him, and I think he said he was one of the only Harris cars that was down there. So, yeah, I don't have anything on that. I know that a new used new chassis has arrived in somebody's garage on the east side of town that he won't be racing in Minot because he has other duties at the Nodak Speedway, and I'm not going to break it to anybody else other than that. So
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, so.
you'll get the 411 after the show.
I see. Huh. Yeah. You pointed your thumb like at me. I'm like, no, there's nothing new at my place.
Not even a new used one?
No, there's
Used new?
no. What you've seen is what it is. Still. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any. I guess the guys to talk to is somebody like a Sebo or Travis Hagen or somebody that's at the selling parts.
things.
Who's buying what? Who's getting what? I'm a little out of the loop. I guess I
would say the same. For me.
work has been stupid lately, and I can't seem to find time to.
I
the easy
disagree
stuff?
with you that you're out of the loop. I think you're in the loop more than anybody is in the loop. To the point where they're handing you
Are
cars.
we playing cards and I don't know it?
Do you want to go to Arizona and drive this thing for me? I'm pulling this out of the barn. You want to take it all summer long and drive? I mean,
that's true. Things don't kind of match there.
I'm just gonna sit over here and moderate the show. No,
That's safe.
I haven't heard. You know, it's going to be interesting to see. I think everybody knows by now the health situation of Travis Hagen. So us on the Dirt Weekly, thoughts are with you. Hopefully you're
for sure.
healthy,
Yeah.
healthy by next spring. If you
I'm
don't,
so optimistic he's going to be normal.
Yeah,
and I'm sticking to it.
if you don't know it, I'm not one to tell you what's going on. You can look up on Travis Hagen's page or Mackenzie Hagen and do that. I just know Travis is a dear friend. The whole Hagen family are friends, and
For sure.
you know, to see Travis Hagen hopefully healthy and back at a racetrack next summer, I think that's the goal of everybody.
Him and the fam are vacationing. Look like things are going good, so I'm gonna stick to it.
Yep.
Things are going good.
So it's you know, that's where my thoughts are. Mike Hagen, you know, doing the Mike Hagen thing. I think he'll be back in a stock car.
Yeah, Mike's usually disciplined on getting his car done right away because, of course, he's got his seed business there going on in the spring. So
I think he's already got the car wrapped. I think, or
typically he does.
Yeah.
Typically by now he's ready to go, and I'm sure I would certainly think
we can go down the list here. I heard rumors that Jason Walla might be taking it a little bit more serious this year. The Minot schedule intrigues him.
I hadn't heard that, but here we go. It is interesting to some drivers for sure. I think most of them. So
I just had to rub the genie's bottle a little bit to get it to start.
and he starts leaking. Yeah.
You know,
unknown stuff to me. So.
There's absolutely nothing confirmed about any of this stuff. It's just things you hear out there. You know, it's just I don't know who else. You know, there's a couple new drivers over there in Williston. One of them hopefully is coming to get Max's car. That'll be a new hobby stock driver. I know Sage Borroot, I believe, has a hobby stock over there now. He picked up a hobby, moved from the slingshots to a hobby
I'd
stock.
Seen Chris looking for one.
Yep.
So
I think
must
he
have
got
found
one.
So. Again, the slingshots feeding into the
feeding
classes.
in.
So.
I believe the Good Rose. I think the older Good Rose at Landon.
It is.
Or Good Row. I believe he picked up a sprint car, I think, didn't he? Or
he did? Oh, okay.
I'm not 100% sure. I guess.
Did he age out on the slingshot?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I know some
there's
kids
so many,
over there did. So
many rumors and stuff you hear here, there, whatever. You don't know what's true. You don't know what's not true. That's why I try not to speak a whole bunch.
Where did the Wayne Johnson fleet of modifieds go?
Well, he still has one.
Still got
he?
one. Yeah, and then somebody on the it was at Stampede or the Tour. He had sold his backup car that night to somebody in Jamestown, backed out and sold right on the spot. It was earlier in the year. I'm going to say it must have been Tour night. So, yeah. But he does still have one for sale. At least it's still on Facebook. I saw that too. So,
yeah.
Haven't got to be together with Wayne this winter like I typically am. So, still working on it.
Just to, we can give a slight update on Wayne Johnson. I don't know the inner workings of his life by any means, but he's still a part of racing. He's not going to be racing anytime.
Took on a board position.
Yeah, he's a board member at the Nodak Speedway, which is a huge asset to the Nodak Speedway. Sounds like he's going to be involved on race nights with some of the stuff.
Yeah, I'm understanding kind of a little bit of the go-to person in the pits. So, going to check in with people, make sure everything's going good or.
So the Wayne Johnson still being around is good.
Sounds like he's moving around a little bit of advertisement also.
Yep.
things are going good there too. So good
But
on Wayne.
not having him in a race car hurts.
Yeah, it's gonna be different. Yeah.
Where you're going to park or who you're going to park next to. It'll just
Yeah.
be you and Adam
Well,
over
I was
there
just
now.
going to share in Williston. Grinstead's got his hauler.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'll still be pulling the hauler in next to me. It'll be Chris and Brenner and Tyson then.
Yeah,
So-
the Grinsteads.
so-
they added a 2-car trailer to their
yeah,
fleet.
so they've got Wayne's truck and trailer, and so that's exciting for them. And I've had them on the other side. We'll have Max in there somewhere, and
Both in a hobby stock again,
So-
the Grinsteads, right?
yep.
Yep.
They're I mean, they're interested in moving around later on, but they still want to figure out how the corners of the car work and stuff like that. And, yep. Yeah.
Saturn's coming back in a hobby. You're going to have
They got updates all the time. I mean, they work day and
Yeah.
night on their stuff, and it shows. And they're,
Bruce hasn't gotten a car yet.
Bruce,
Raceland has gotten a car,
a legend, right?
a legend car. Yes. So yes, but no. Yes as an owner dad. No as a driver. To the best of my knowledge. Happy birthday, Bruce. It was his birthday today. So.
Oh, happy birthday.
So,
Perfect gift to yourself.
yeah. I seen somebody had a stock car for sale. One of those for sale pages. Somebody tagged him, and he said no. So,
Trying to rack my brain on a lot of this other stuff. I don't have much more.
yeah.
We're kind of open books. Jordan's running the stock car again.
Yeah, still stock car stuff.
Probably have
so.
the chrome wheels.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, yeah. So it's actually rated down. I got to clean up these wheels. Craig's looking. Holy smokes!
You know,
It's hard to make dirty wheels clean.
Speaking of Kyler, Facebook, you get down these rabbit holes. But I saw a picture of Lon's car. It must be 10, maybe
Yeah,
15
years ago.
It was the
The 2-car,
yes,
red and white.
Oh my God!
I had forgotten about it till the
that-
picture came up, and
that
what a
thing-
great memory, huh?
That thing melted me.
Yeah,
I was
it
like-
looked great. It really did. I remembered the car once he showed the picture of it, but yeah, what a great memory to pop up. So
Bruce commented, said no race car for him. Raceland will wheel the legend.
Oh,
well, we got that one right.
Bruce, you need to sweet talk Brock. I bet you fit in his stock car. If I did, you did.
I'd like to see that.
I stopped by, but you were already done with work, so I'll give you the happy birthday here just a minute ago.
Yeah,
Right.
and I can't even the inside knowledge of my brother's head. I can't even tell you what he's doing.
We just know what he's got.
We just know what he's got. He's got a sport mod and he's got a stock
That
car.
car.
What night he races what?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. Where
And that
I know he's racing the sport mod on the Tougher the Dirt Tour because I run the Tougher the Dirt Tour and he's my damn brother. So I know where he'll be them 6 nights.
And stock cars aren't part of it. Yeah.
the inventory of the Beater clan changes weekly. And
Yeah.
Well, this has been in the works for a little while. This sport mod
Yeah.
out here for Max. Originally, I wanted him to start out in a sport mod. We weren't going to do hobby, but
Oktoberfest.
change that a little bit. And then
He felt the Quickener kind of matched his
I thought
his
it matched it
iRacing
perfectly.
deal, and
So
he certainly
we
was
just
getting out
figured it
on
was
practice
time.
night pretty good. So
Just figured it was time, and Brock agreed, and we just decided to go that route. See what happens. We're going to race Minot full time, I believe, with him. Well, I know we're going to race Minot full time. It's our home track. But anything other than that, I know we plan on being in Underwood. And I want to say maybe an Estevan and a Williston here and there. But you just never know. I just don't know where. Part of it is I think everybody that's had a teenage son, you have girls, so it's a little different. They're a little
maybe.
flaky. They're a little iffy. And Max gets in his modes where he's stubborn as his mother or his dad.
Oh.
Or his dad.
How do the monkeys do it?
He is stubborn.
I hear nothing.
And if he pisses me or Brock off, he might not race one night. We might just keep the car from him. So
I've seen that move pulled before. So.
have you? I think there was one night this last summer
Yeah, I
we
was
kept
gonna
the
say,
car
you
from him.
jacked him one night. Yeah, he got him once this summer. So Max, you listening? Yep, you're listening.
But yeah, it's just it's when you try to take a young kid and he's been around racing his whole life, he takes everything for granted. So sometimes you have to remind him that not every teenage kid gets what you get, and you just have to let him know that.
Get good grades and go to work.
Yes, it's pretty simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
I tell him that all the time.
You're doing a good job raising him. He's got a good heart.
I wish I could get Peyton in a car once. I just can't. She just won't do it. It'd be cool to have her in a car once just to say she raced, but at the same time, I'd rather her enjoy it and then just be in a car.
She's been
So
doing good with the cameras, and I sure enjoy her help at Underwood.
we got a big decision coming with her here soon about what college she's going to. She's been offered, I think, 6-7 scholarships for bowling all across the Midwest. So she's got to sit down and make her decision and let people know. I don't know if she knows yet, but she needs to.
My camp, my
Yeah.
senior, she's gonna chase track at MSU. So
Right here, stay home.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I seen that announcement. She did the
Yeah.
letter.
yeah, letter of intent, and
Yeah,
that was pretty neat. So yeah, they grow up fast.
it's not
Whether
right.
you want them to or not.
It's not right.
So, again, the other halves aren't listening, right? Okay, so when are we doing these open houses?
Oh, for graduation?
Well,
I know
yeah.
when Peyton's is.
When?
It's a Wednesday, May 8th.
Wednesday. How do you pull that off?
What do you mean?
How do you get an open house on Wednesday?
Because you're worried about the schedule. Gotcha.
I thought all open houses are on the weekends.
Well, there's been some questioning of why we picked a Wednesday. When you have an amazing wife, as I do, and she understands our summer schedule of racing.
But stubborn.
Well, I said it might have been me that stubborn. I'm trying to make up for that stubborn comment. Come on, Craig. Don't remind everybody.
Sorry.
You're walking on glass. I hope it's not sharp.
Well, I'll jump in. I'll jump in with you. How many of our wives are not stubborn? I mean, it just goes with the territory.
No comment from this guy over here. We haven't had a Jedley check-in yet.
Yeah. Well,
He doesn't even know that we're here
he's
anymore.
probably off the radar. Yeah. See where.
But
we snuck one in here tonight.
Wednesday, the Wednesday night deal, we're actually doing it. She wanted to do it at the fairgrounds. We talked to Craig and them guy Daryl at the fairgrounds. We're doing it right in the pub or whatever, right at the
Carousel
the
Pub.
Carousel Pub. We're doing it right at the Carousel Pub on a Wednesday evening. My job is to take the day off of work and smoke some brisket and some
Get her done.
some pulled pork, and I'm
I
supplying
look
the
forward
food.
to
and,
that. So.
Yeah,
It's on a Wednesday.
it's on a Wednesday. I think it's genius. Do it during the week so you don't tie up people's weekends. As Peyton said, she will not miss the races for a graduation, so she will be at the races. She doesn't care.
Jordan, you could play it this way. You know,
I'm just listening.
I've gone to all these tracks. I don't want to step on any other tracks as nights. I don't want to step on any of the other
Graduation
graduates.
parties?
Yeah, so we'll do it on
Well,
Tuesday.
Peyton is
Let's
really
see.
social in
I
that
can
way.
play this back so I get the wording just right. Okay.
Peyton is social as well, so she looks at it from her standpoint. Well, if I do mine on a Wednesday, people can come to mine, and then I can go to other people
Genius.
on the weekend.
Yeah. Curious minds want to know. Perfect.
Did you know it was a
Got it.
Wednesday before the show here?
I did not.
You didn't,
I did
huh?
not. Come on. You got to be a weekend guy like the rest of us.
I think
our graduation's on a Sunday, so you might remember 5 years ago when Mindy graduated, I made it just in. I thought I was going to miss the heat, but I did make it in time to catch a heat
So
race.
the Carousel Pub, you rent that, then you're right there
Yeah.
already.
You can kind of be listening. Is it my turn yet? I'll be right back.
So the viewership just confuses me. We went through every schedule. We talked about Arizona, went through all the schedules. We have rambled on about nonsense for about 15 minutes, and our viewership has quadrupled.
Wow.
We're in the mid-teens now.
Well, that's because we're getting close to the good stuff.
What's the good stuff?
Well,
Fear the Rear?
We got Fear the Rear. We
What-
got what we got? Word
Texas
Talk.
Red
We
Dome Talk?
We got Dome Talk. Ain't got much for Dome Talk, but
Hot
we
sauce
got-
spicy topic?
Oh boy, yeah.
Well, let's go Fear the Rear. What's our Fear the Rear?
Well, the easy one is that our local guys that went down to Arizona to race.
They feared
did
the
well.
rear.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they made the commitment, and it wasn't just on a whim because it can't be. So, you had shared some struggles that you had down there and capitalized. I mean, you improved your position by 10 spots, and that's cool. I mean, you wanted to do better, but nonetheless, you got out of there in one piece, and that's cool. So, talked about some other drivers out of other sanctions around the state doing really well down there also. So. Again,
I think it's all North Dakota drivers
Nathan
in general.
Speeton and,
Well, one of the things that one of the things that I noticed, so that Central Arizona Raceway Casa Grande, they had this early thaw, Ernie Mincy early thaw.
Ernie Mincy, yeah.
Did you know that a lot of that show is put on by North Dakota guys?
I did
A lot
not
of
realize
North Dakota sponsors help put up the money. The flag man and the race director are from the Grand Forks Racetrack, River City Speedway.
Well, then everything makes sense then, because it was just mobbed by
North Dakota drivers.
So.
I think we outnumbered anybody else down there. North Dakota drivers did.
Because it's not fear in the rear, it's fear in 50 below, and they're like,
Well,
we know where to go.
The 50 below is in their rear.
Yeah.
Behind
There you
them.
go.
Yeah.
Behind them. So they fear
they
the
were
rear.
fearing it, and they put it in the rear. No kidding. Rear view mirror.
Yeah, so mine's shout out to all the North Dakota guys that go down and represent so well. It's cool to say you're from North Dakota, and it's when people talk to you, you go, "Oh, I'm from Minot, North Dakota." "Oh, dude, so and so just won something or won this or won that." "Yeah, that's from our home state."
We're usually being in North Dakota, and most people don't. Most people ask you, "You got Mount Rushmore, right?"
Close.
So
No, close. We have the Turtle Mountains.
we can see it from Dickinson.
The 50 below in your expertise of engine building and the EV talk that we were talking about, how that 50 below, it's invisible, right? You can't see
Yeah.
it. But nothing can be more impactful. I don't know how many people we had to jump start at the store, and it just,
Isn't it something?
you got spark, you got gas, and 50 below can prevent that from happening. It's just strange.
It's all there, but it don't happen. Yeah, isn't that something? Yeah, for sure. And on that EV deal, I mean, yeah, it's obviously somewhere in the future, but it's not practical all the time. I mean, the news was showing that stuff stalled all over the place, and even trying to charge them up, it just wasn't there. Now, the last thing you want to do when it's cold out with an EV is be running your heater and all the accessory, and that's the very thing you need the most of. But without it, I understand EV buses and stuff like that actually have a diesel heater on them to produce heat. So I'm not sure if we're winning the sell.
So let me paint the picture of the EV and the spouses that we were talking about. Imagine driving down the Highway 83, 50 below, and you say, honey, you got to turn that heat off.
Oh,
Our battery's getting down to about 20%. We need that to get home. Turn that heat off.
We're 40 miles from home, and it says we got a range of 30. We got to turn off everything. No, we don't. Yes, we do.
We're going to turn the heat off, but KCJB is coming into range.
Yeah. We need a microphone so we can call them back. Hey, we might be stalled at South Prairie. Come and get us. Yeah. I mean, it really did shorten that up. Again, on EV Talk, they interviewed a person that had owned one for 7 years in Mandan, and he made the reference that it's a great in-town car, but when I go out of town, I do drive a gas vehicle. So, obviously they're working this way, but I think to think that this is a tomorrow solution is a little early.
I've joked with Travis Hagen all the time. He's going to be the first electric IMCA modified champion.
Yeah.
He's got her.
Not this year, but
He's
maybe
gonna
in
have
10 years.
Them lithium batteries all charged up with that cool noise that they make with the speakers. He's probably going to have some of them Bose speakers or whatever, kicker subs, so it gets the good bass of the engine, the headers,
And emitting that grape scent.
Yep. Going to have the grape smelling scent puffing out of it, so that way people can smell the grape alcohol.
Oh, boy.
We got this figured out.
Yeah, that cold was real. It freezes up pipes. Furnaces don't want to work. It's just no fun.
One more fear of the rear, real quick.
Yeah.
Jesse Long made the trip down to Arizona. He just checked in with us, and it reminded me to think of Jesse.
Yeah, sorry, Jesse, we didn't mention him.
He's learning the sport mod all over again. He started his racing career in a sport mod, had an wreck, traded me his wreck sport mod for my hobby stock, raced hobby stock for a few years, went to the wingless sprints. Now he's back in a sport mod. He struggled down there immensely. He's worked on his car. He
shared on that too.
He But finally, the final night that he was down there, he ended up leaving a day early because he wanted to start his travel home because of weather and stuff. So that Friday night was his last night. We still had a Saturday, but he made the show. He made his first feature of the Winter Nationals, which 60-some IMCA Sport mods,
Yeah.
that's a feat.
Yeah.
He
Less
was
than half make it.
less than half make it. So he was one night. He finally made the better half, which he deserved with all the hard work that he put in. He was pretty down on himself. We tried to get him to come park up next to us. Hopefully next year, if he goes, he can park up next to us, and we can all group together as North Dakotans.
Mm-hmm.
But shout out to
Yeah,
him for
good-
fear in the rear.
Good
putting
fear
the-
on him. Like say that racing deal. It's a tough curve. It is. And,
you get humbled quick.
oh boy. Yeah. Well, you reflected on your own. I mean, you had a great summer, and yet Arizona wasn't that. So and I know he drove a sport mod late in the season there,
Yep.
and again Arizona wasn't exactly what he had planned. But again, only half make it, less than half make it.
He's
so,
it's someone that loves racing. He loves to drive a race car.
yeah. Made the
and
commitment.
make
made
the
the long
commitment.
haul. And
Yep.
it was. Yeah,
So
followed
it's
him on
cool to see
Facebook
him.
too, so.
He
Yeah,
was
good
in,
on you, Jesse.
he was in the B main, and we were all at the trailer. I think we might have walked up to the grandstands for that one. I'm trying to remember how all the nights worked, but we were. It was Peyton and I and my dad and my brother, because Brock wasn't in the B main that night, and Jason Olson. We were all standing up there just cheering, hoping he holds on to that last transfer spot, and he got it and got in the feature. So
Well,
much deserved.
like I say, racing will frustrate you for sure, and yeah, he found something, albeit late, better than never. Awesome.
Next on the list, Texas Red Dome talk. Has anything new come about? Because I'm telling you right now that is one thing I have not even talked about.
No, I've got nothing either.
Do we have plans yet?
Well, we've had to go to Bismarck for different sports or whatever, so Tina and I do take a little video of the Blue Water Tower on the way by.
Oh, as you?
Just
Just to remind you where it's going to be?
just for file stock.
But
so.
and then that one off to the
based
right,
on the dome.
that water diverse.
Yep.
Every time I drive by that, I'm like, could you get cars in there with that thing? I mean, it's just a. You know which one I'm talking about?
Where we're at now?
It's probably 10. How far is that?
Are you talking the one in Max?
Not all the way to Max, but it's
Halfway-
They're
halfway
building
there?
it on the east side.
Oh, it's
of-
right before the radar base. On the.
And it that's what got me thinking about the dome. It looks like a little Metrodome kind of
Ah.
that they're building. And I believe it's part of the Garrison Diversion Project.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
And
on the
it-
east side, right? Yeah. that's
And
what you said, yeah.
the dome would just need to
Yeah,
be probably
on that curve there.
maybe 10 times that size.
It kind of puts a
Maybe-
little perspective there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 times. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if they can build it right there, hey.
The South Prairie Ned Rose game, PSP, Nick was there.
Yep.
Nick did the show there, so over there warming up to him and all that. To talk about a little dome talk, and Nick's still in.
Nick's still in.
Nick's still in. So it's just a matter of getting him in here, and of course the schedule's always tough. But
Well, I mean,
I
Nick's-
asked the hard questions. Nick, where are we at on this? Oh, I'm in. He said. I didn't get clarity on if we had an entire section. I didn't dare ask that, but
The only way if
I'm
the dome
always-
dies is if the flame dies in you for the dome because you are the ambassador of the dome.
Oh dang! And again, when you go by, you got to look at you see the Blue Water Tower, and you're like, okay, it's on the north side here. Yep, still not anything there for houses. Everything's still there. The houses are all on the south side. So just Nick's on the north side. So
We're
The crew's
and
going to be
Nick
here
is
on
still in.
Friday. We got to get with them and say we need you to
Yeah.
open the dome.
yeah,
your
we do.
crew, your bosses, everybody from corporate.
No, I'm talking Motley Crew.
Oh,
That's
You had Jordan and I in. We
I'm
were-
like, holy cow! We got to get a haircut. We got to get presentable here.
Whether I win a race or not, I'll shave for that.
yeah. I got to brush up on the cell here, so you keep us posted when I've seen your big checks in the store there on things that are happening. So I know
What kind of
things are there.
What kind of
We just haven't
nonprofit
done-
do we have to come up with?
Yeah, I don't know. Some addiction to racing. So we'll chase it on an addiction side of charity here, so
Motorhead addiction or something or what?
Yeah, Need for Speed.
We don't have a $10 million check, though.
No, well, not yet. But
There's a first for everything.
but $1 million checks is the same thing. It might take a couple years, but we'll stay paying attention.
Yeah, that's all I got on Dome Talk. I don't have anything else. So
Texas Red. Now it's again, the weather's warming up, so Texas Red gonna have to start paying attention to seed and videos and all that.
yeah,
I'm just
I
putting
still
it
have
out
the
there.
video from last year.
Yeah. Well, it's 2024. We need new stuff. So
We need
Yeah,
footage
what are-
of your corn plot with its new
Again.
barriers.
I got the big 6-foot fence up now. So and again, shout out. I'll see the plot here for you. I mean, I want some stuff that gets up there. I want some 8-foot stuff.
I
here,
wonder
so.
if the deer are
Sunflowers-
gathered
sunflowers
like
too.
you guys getting together planning your track schedules, where they're like, all right, this guy thinks he's got us beat with this fence. We're
And
getting the corn.
And I'm going to pull them back like 2 feet, so even if they get up on their legs, they can't get it. So, yeah, man. This
More
is,
interesting than Jordan racing a stock car.
Mr.
We need to
McGregor's
have
garden here,
video.
so-
We need to have video of him putting this fence up.
no, the fence is up. I got
Oh.
it up already. Those
Well,
things-
we need video of the deer trying to get over the
the
fence.
deer are 2-0, and I've had enough. So.
I'm envisioning. You ever seen Caddyshack? Bill Murray battling
It's
the
the same
goat.
thing, getting those gophers. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I don't have a gopher problem yet, but I got a deer problem. So I'm afraid they might get in and can't get back out. And that will ruin everything. But yeah, I'm taking measures here. So now, with that said, they're roaming around. I mean, I'm watching them, but they're not in there. So yeah, I'm gonna grow some corn. It's coming. Well, see, that's a good shot there because that's what's going to be in a couple months here. We're going to have to plant it.
Yeah.
Come on, Jeff.
It all looks so beautiful.
It's hard to believe
They're just-
that nice one. This is cool.
Just letting you dream of warmer days.
50
Long
degrees
days.
next Wednesday.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I got all kinds of stuff going on here.
You're sneaking in a starter there.
Yeah, the producer is failing miserably at his job.
We apologize for being out of practice.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Accidentally had this little eyeball clicked here, and then it screwed everything up.
Ooh.
Don't do that again.
You said Jedley hadn't checked in yet,
I
so
haven't
no
seen a
mod light
Jedley.
talk.
No mod lights.
No Stebleton? I even get him a heads up.
Yeah,
Hey, we're up
wow.
to 16 viewers. I mean,
Wow. I told Adam that
Chris
was
Yost
happening.
has checked in a couple times. He's trying to get all the schedules together for his sport compacts. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's doing
We're going to have enough shows for Sport Compact Champion in Underwood, too. so.
perfect.
I like their car count late last year. That
it's-
was inspiring.
that
so we're
compacts
going.
is really grown up here in northern North Dakota. I'm going to call it northern North Dakota Mina, but it's pretty weak down in Mandan.
And it hadn't been. So I
It
don't know.
hadn't been.
Yeah,
It's like switched.
Yeah, they're like
It's like
flipped.
flipped.
Yeah. Yeah, Mandan had it going on, and we couldn't get it going on. Now we got it going on. They got 3 cars, so I don't know what's going on there. I will go on record that Mike Tomlinson told me this about 3-4 years ago. He goes, the best feature in Nebraska, pick your track, is Sport Compacts. So, and I'm starting to understand that.
It's funny because down there in Arizona, if people stayed up late, they run sport compacts last. And we're going to roll into the hot sauce topic, Isaac's hot sauce, Sondrel's hot sauce topic, and this is going to be part of it because we're going to talk about
Coach Sondrel.
Coach Sondrel.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about race tracks and some of what they do and the program they run type stuff. But they run the compacts last, and by golly, that if you stayed up for it, some of the best racing you've seen all night.
Well, we have video footage of what
So
we
Mike
go
says.
7 wide at the flag stand.
yeah, at NODA.
Yeah.
The green flag.
Yep.
You're right.
Yeah.
There were
And
6 lanes for them.
And imagine it didn't fit in turn 1.
Into the 2 lanes that are in the corner.
But they tried.
That's
Chris-
why we watch.
Chris Yost just said there's a couple new cars getting ready for Mandan and other tracks this season, a couple new compacts.
Thank you for the update.
Chris is a big promoter of the compacts, and we appreciate
He
everything
is.
you do for the compacts, Chris, because
Yeah, he
I
got
think
his
you-
hands in most of them, and that's good. Todd Fenner was by my shop here a couple nights ago. He says you're going to get involved in his car, and, well, I mean, I wish you the best. You've tackled bigger, I'm sure, but this will be big. So
The
it'll
old
be nice to get the old
Fenner.
get Fenright back on the track there. He's MIA here for a year, but he's ready to get it going again.
Lon Satrin jumped in here. I didn't want to break the news. I didn't think it was my place to say, Lon, but if you put it out there, Mike Hagan ended up buying the Kyler Satrin stock car. So Mike Hagan actually has 2 cars.
Yeah, and I actually knew that, and probably doing the same thing I'm doing. Is tired of changing gears, so you get a whole nother car. I don't know that. I'm just guessing.
I didn't want to. I tiptoed around that one because I didn't think it was my place to say. But since Lon put it out there,
there's a little bit of that on Facebook.
Yep.
So a while ago. So
trying to be the right media.
don't want to be the spoiler.
Yeah,
but
media.
Don't know what
but
you
we have
can
something
say.
to talk about.
Yeah. So hot sauce topic.
Yeah.
They went away from North Dakota traditional stock cars mods last type racing program, and they chose to run them first. Their thought process is they're the most watched classes per se. They're the most popular classes in IMCA racing. So what they thought is they were trying to hit them features at about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the Midwest.
Okay.
And then the sport mods and hobbies and compacts would come after later in the evening when maybe people would go into bed on Central Time in the Midwest.
I see.
That's what their thought
kind of chasing the
process was.
viewership and didn't want to keep people up. Okay.
Correct.
Who's they? Who's doing this?
The
promoter, Brad Whitfield, or
Gotcha. Oh,
down in Arizona.
down in Arizona.
So
they
this could lead into a hottie saucer.
yeah.
It is a hot sauce
Yeah.
topic because I have the theory. Whatever your premier show is, if you guys are calling it the stock cars or the mods, whatever that feature is. So in my mind, it's the IMC modifieds at the Nodak Speedway. I've always said the promoter in my brain has always said, you know what, that modified feature needs to take the track at 9:30. Whether the race program is looking, if the modifieds are scheduled to be last and the show is pushed late, and we haven't even started the sport mods yet. 9:30, the people come to watch the modifieds. Let's put the modifieds on the track, get their feature there so people can watch them, go home. Whatever your show is. It's kind of like you're picking the best stage for your main course, per se,
Yeah.
And that's how they thought a little bit down there.
I think Jordan and I'm not 100% sure where you stand on this, but I think the modifieds for sure, and I'd love to have the stock cars for sure, always to be under the lights.
Correct.
Always,
That is
always.
one of the cool things, yes. Now, if we get the time change thing going through North Dakota where we end up on mountain time all year
Everything
round,
would make sense.
then everything would make
So
sense.
in Arizona,
They would have Esteban.
their sun doesn't hang like ours does.
It's dark at 5:30.
Yeah, so then they can do whatever they
Especially
want to
this
do.
time of the year. Same here.
But
So-
there's something about just the effect. It just seems like so much more excitement, so much more the way-
Electric.
yeah. If you're coming out during the daytime, it's like,
It's,
well, just like Daytona. You put Daytona during the day, put it under the lights, I'm in.
yeah.
color of the cars
It-
is more
it's-
vibrant, everything.
The only thing that I was bringing up, it's just one of them deals. We talk, there was some big controversy, big hot sauce controversy last fall about mods racing some nights, taking the nights off, how many fans come to watch just the modifieds, fans saying, I'm not coming if modifieds, or I'm not coming if stock cars aren't racing. Well, if there's that many people out there, okay, if there's 500 that are only that they're there to watch the mods, that's what they're paying their ticket for, they're there to watch the mods, don't make them stay till 11 o'clock to watch them. That's all I'm kind of saying, but then the opposite side of that is then the crowd gets up and leaves, then you have features after they leave with less people in the grandstands, so less excitement, less ambiance, less whatever. You try to hold the mods and the stock cars to your later features so that way everybody stays.
They did flirt with that, though. I can't remember where I saw that, where the big ones ran, and then maybe it was the sport mods after it.
Well, they did it down at Kokopah for 2 weeks.
But I think they did that I'm trying to remember where I saw that. That wasn't too bad. We're one lower class after it, but definitely not during the day.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess that would be really the turning point for me too. I mean, if all 4 features are going to be in the dark, then I could see maybe moving things
them around. Yep.
to take advantage of said thoughts there. But right, to run the modifieds at 8:30 at Nodak and then have sport mods at 10 o'clock, that's backwards.
Right.
I mean, that's not beating up on either class. It's just I believe, and again, I want to get into the flagging calls here.
Oh,
too.
we'll go into that too.
So, but at any rate, because again, I always refer to different areas have what they call fair and square,
Yep.
and or what they perceive as good racing. I believe that we as a whole, as a majority anyway, believe that we should work up to our premier classes, our grand finales. So we go from if the hobbies and the sport mods are to be beginners of fendered and open wheel cars, then we go to the stock car modified because it's our premier drivers under premier conditions.
Yep.
Because you wouldn't go to a boxing event and have the top card the first
bout.
Yeah.
Or,
and then watch the undercards afterwards. They wouldn't sell enough beer.
Right.
You're right. So they wouldn't sell enough product. So
Tyson has a first round knockout, and night's over.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Well, the car's still warm. Let's get in it. So, well, I mean, and
You're not going to.
I'm not picking on the unfairness of that for the other classes, but I've also raced on situations like that. I went out to Ohio, World Outlaws. The modifieds were an undercard, but their bombers ran last, and there was nobody in the grandstand.
Yep.
But they ran last, and that was on purpose because the Outlaws were the premier, and then the mods were next, and the bombers were last. So I've been in some of those shows too, albeit all of them were in the dark. So
there's video out there somewhere of a mod tour night up in Estevan that the hobby stocks were a part of, and Brock and I took the feature, and they shuffled them. There was weather pending, and they shuffled the hobby stocks out of the order. We were supposed to be filler time in the middle, and they shuffled us to the end of the night. They said, nope, we're going to go straight into stock car and mod features. You guys are the last race of the night. And we literally coming out of turn 4 after whatever we pull on the track for our parade lap, and you looked up at the stands and you could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We put a show on for about 5 people.
Yeah.
And it was broadcasted, and I wish that video was somewhere I could find it, but it's not. So.
Well, and you bring in so many different variables. If you have weather coming and it is a tour night, you can't make that up, and you want that to happen. So then the hobbies at that point could be made up at a later date.
Yep.
If it did continue to rain, we could double it up on the next deal, or whatever. So like you're tougher than dirt, you're going to do the same thing.
We're going to shuffle things
you're
around.
You're going to make sure those two get going first.
Yep.
And if the legends and the stock cars don't go off, well, we tried.
Yep.
It's just the reality of weather. So
I just thought it was interesting that they ran their premier classes first, because they were trying to hit that sweet time that sweet spot for time in the Midwest. So the people that are big fans of the mods and the stock cars were able to watch
and not stay up all night to do it.
Stay up all night. Yeah. But in that case, it made Jenny stay up all night to try to watch the hobby stocks, who went second to last.
So, well, there you go. So Jenny was unhappy, and the mod people were happy.
Most of the time, when I got done with my feature, I had a text message waiting for me at my phone saying, "Good job, love you, honey. Good night."
But there's so much more involved into it than just who wants to watch at what different time. The track conditions all change too.
Well, that's another thing. They were doing a little track prep session before, like, the mods or the stock car. The first feature was either mods or stock car, and they were doing a little track prep session, trying to spruce up the top, spruce up the bottom, trying to give them the best
that second lane,
the best track of the night per se.
I think that's imperative. I mean,
yeah.
I go on record all the time. Putting the premier classes out there on a sloppied up racetrack is an insult. It just is. I'm not saying that it's okay for the hobbies and sport mods, but most of the time they don't know some of them don't know the difference. So therefore, I want to see Travis Hagen perform on the best track, not the wettest track. I mean, not the buttered up frying pan track. I want to see him and Aaron, and I want to see Steven, and I want to see all those guys going at it on the best track. So.
Yeah, they'd go out and scratch like a blade width at the bottom and a blade width at the top, and then sprinkle some water and hit it with the sheep's foot to try to chew it up a little bit.
Yeah, I
And-
think that's awesome.
And they were trying to create that bottom groove and that top groove.
We shouldn't have done this tonight. You guys are just getting me all worked
All
up.
worked out.
Yes.
I think we're racing next Wednesday. Well, let's race next Wednesday.
Start
So,
talking about
yeah.
Travis and Aaron and
Yeah.
Steven and all that. And like,
Cody and
Yeah, they're
so yeah, I mean all of our hitters, but and again, Esteban it would do just one corner or just one
Yep.
spot, and I see all of our tracks are picking up on that. We want to do that in Underwood. Again, one corner is going to get more light than the rest, so you're
Yep.
going to want to concentrate on him probably more than the other corner. But again, just trying to
As-
offer all the lanes we can. So
Jesse said, the heat races, he said the heat races were wet. After that, it was a 5-lane racetrack, basically down there. You had a little bit of mud in the heat races. When they start in the daylight with the sun, you have to put moisture on it.
you do.
You just have to.
It gets so
And-
filthy nobody can
And
see.
they would rotate classes who went first in the heat races. They'd rotate. They'd go, okay, mods, you're going to go first one night. Stock cars the next night. Sport mods the next night.
Everybody was part of the solution.
Everybody
as painful
went-
as it was.
Everybody had to go first on the little bit muddy racetrack. But what it did is it built it for the rest of the night.
yeah.
I will give them props, the track prep. I just thought it was interesting, their thought process. That was one of my first tops.
Especially if you know it up front.
Right.
When you're 2,000 miles away, you want to know that up front. You
And
do.
you-
And we
and-
talked about some of that stuff in the past.
And he lets
Don't
it know.
surprise me when I show up with a name out. Don't surprise me that you're going to stick me out there first. I might have changed my mind had I known that.
But everybody down
So,
there,
I'm just saying.
everybody that I talked to, everybody down there understood that they had to take their night. And it just was what it was. And Brock had to do it a couple times. Hobbies, they never ran us first or second or whatever. They were always second to last. They don't believe in narrow tire cars going out on a wet racetrack. So, which is fine by me because I didn't want to go out on slop anyways.
Right.
The other
stock suspension cars are really ugly on them. So
The other hot sauce topic that we kind of visited with, I love how our
Yeah.
viewership is up to almost 30 at this time of night because we're
What
talking
time
about the
is
good
it?
stuff.
yeah.
It's sweet
Well, it's
spot.
not- it's
We're
not-
in the
yeah,
sweet spot.
We are 9:30. Here we go.
9:30.
They aim in.
We have
Yep,
a-
this is when they should be taking the track.
Yeah, this is the sweet spot when we should be taking
Yeah.
the track. They did the no-fault caution rule, the Super
Mm.
Nationals Boone style caution rule. Stop on the track, no matter what happens. Stop on the track, you go to the back. And Grant and them guys, I'm not picking on the flagman. I'm not picking on anybody as we talk about this. But I've kind of been a fan. I don't want to say fan. I've kind of been on board with some of that after being a guy that has to make the judgment calls a lot. I've kind of thought to myself, boy, it'd be nice if I could just say, nope, you guys were stopped. All of you go to the back. We're moving on. As the guy that has to be the bad guy that says, hey, you caused that. You
the
go
judge.
To the judge.
Yeah.
As the judge, I've kind of thought about that rule, and I liked it. After spending 8 nights racing within that rule and it affecting me a couple, 3-4 times and affecting Brock a few times, that rule needs some work.
Well, I want to interject right there just to be clear on what we're talking about now. So again, one of my favorite terms are every region has its idea of fair and square and all
Yep.
that and all that things. What I mean there. So we when we any of us go to the Super Nationals, and I went many years, just not recently. What that means is that if 2 cars spin out in front of you, you're not involved, but you stop just to avoid any contact or any possible mishap there. So the 2 cars that spun are involved in the wreck, but you stopped, and 2 cars behind you stopped because they kind of had it blocked and you didn't want to go running over the infield tires. All 5 of you go to the pits. And that's the Boone rule.
Yep.
So in other words, what you're saying is that when the yellow is displayed, all cars that are not moving are part of the yellow.
Are part of the yellow. They're considered.
Regardless that you were not involved in the crash, you did nothing but avoid it. All you did was avoid it. But you are as responsible as the guy that spun out the car in front of him. But you know that when you leave.
But we
So-
learned something down there.
Ah.
We learned that there is a track is blocked exemption to that rule.
You had shared that there, but Boone doesn't have that. So
Well,
well,
I
at
was,
least they
I
had
was
when
told
I was
Boone
there.
does.
However, they don't have instant replay to review that, so
Yeah.
it's a judgment call You were
So
mentioning
just
that.
just to carry on, just to stay a little bit on track here, it seems like there might be some modifications, and you're right. it all makes sense when you have to be the judge making those judgment calls because now you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, guy in corner 3, how many cars are stopped? Well, the blue one, the green one, and the yellow one, and then the 2 white ones crashed into each other. Okay, those 5. Okay, boom. Nobody likes it, but you knew it going in. Okay. What we do up here, similar to what I talked about promoting versus
Yep.
track boards. Okay, it's a similar deal. So up here, we demand a judgment call, whether we know it or not. The 3 of us are racing, and it's slippery out, and I got a run on you underneath you, but I slipped on it, caught you in the left rear, and took you around. Didn't take me around. I'm charged for that yellow,
And I go back to my
and you
spot.
go back to your spot. We expect that.
Yep.
We can't imagine it's any other way, but there is other ways.
NASCAR.
Well,
Honestly,
NASCAR's a no-fault deal.
NASCAR's got the Boone rule.
Yeah, they got the Boone rule. Yeah, yeah. So I've went on record. We wouldn't survive racing here for 2 weeks if we did a no-fault deal.
Well,
Oh,
we
my
did it for
goodness.
1 week in about 2017 and reverted back. So
Well, good on you. I'm glad I don't remember it because it would have been that harsh. So. But for the sake of the show moving on and stuff like that, I think that as a driver, and you're sharing the driver's seat point of view on where you're going with some of those calls that were made, I'll take the judgment call as I do at a basketball game, good, bad, or ugly, because at least it's going to be right sometimes. That no-fault deal is wrong to me most every time, and it is wrong every time you're not part of the crash. You just avoided it. No, you've offered that if the track was blocked, they'll make that call. Well, even at that, you shared that they don't even always make the right call then. The
Well,
track was
there's-
blocked, and you still got sent to the pits.
Because then, if you, like you said, you know it going in, and in your mind, like, I can't stop, then it becomes a safety concern because if someone,
Well, to reflect on Boone, what you got guys that said, I know you got it blocked, but I want to keep on racing. They run right over the front. If you're in a modified, they run right over the front end of you. They take your air cleaner off, your wheels off, their wheels off, and and you say, what were you thinking, dude? And they say, I
didn't
wanted
wanna
to
stop.
continue to race. I wanted to continue. You shared that Brock only raced 30 laps down there type of deal, or he racing
Yeah.
50 a night at this other deal. So everybody's traveled from a long ways. It's like, I know it ain't right, but they're going to can me if I stop. They're going to put me in the pits if I stop. So I think that's chaotic. I think that makes no sense. But at any rate, it still happens at places. As I've shared in the past, if I know that might stop me from going because I will stop to avoid a crash. I'm not bonsaiing through there. I know what it takes to fix these things, and most people do. So I may be I may be missing most of the races because I just was avoiding somebody else's trouble.
Well,
So-
the biggest situation that was glaring for me when I was down there, and fortunately I'm good enough friends, Grant Osvig was the race director down there. He was the one making the determining factor of who stopped, who's not stopped, who's involved, who's not involved.
And who that is who come up for the tour and flagged.
Correct. And
It's
and-
IMCA's
But
guy.
Grant is IMCA's representative per se.
Representative.
He comes up and he flags the mod tour our way.
Our way, yeah.
is
he
he
does
the one
it.
with the golden wrists?
Yeah, that can do the
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Good point. He can flag either way.
He's okay with either way.
Yep.
It's just the rules that were put in place down there were in essence the Boone rules, the Supernational rules. You stop on the track, you this. There was a situation in the sport mods, and it didn't affect Brock in any way. So I'm bringing it up. I chose this one because it didn't affect Brock. It was more affecting the points and the points. The people that were involved in the points championship, Speetons and the Bannisters out of California and whatever. There was an incident where the leaders got together going down the front straightaway. You could have called it on either one in a situation where you're doing our rule. You could have called it on either one. The
Shared contact.
shared contact. They were pinching each other down, pinching each other up. Well, he's the leader at the time. I think it was number 26. I can't remember his name. Spun and went up the top of the track. Well, when he went up there, it kind of blocked the upper groove, and one of the Bannisters who was involved, I think he was second in points at the time. He got into him as he spun across the track and came to a stop up there, and then a few cars behind them did as well. And they ended up giving a couple of them cars their spots back, which threw major red flags up for me.
I've been doing it other ways all week.
Exactly. Some of the consistency. And then come to find out, well, that was the exemption of the track was blocked rule, and they couldn't make it through even if they tried. And that could open a can of worms as far as I'm concerned.
You're still pretty warm, and it was a while ago.
Well, and I'm not upset about it.
Well,
It didn't.
you're human is what I mean.
Yeah, it did not
So-
affect Brock. It did not affect Brandon.
Yeah.
It's just something that I witnessed, I seen, and my theory in my mind of maybe liking that as the judge went from, yeah, I really like it at 80% to I'm really cold at about 20% right now, because that's an even tougher judgment.
Yeah.
Is the track block too much for these guys to get through?
That's the very definition of the judgment call.
Very definition of
Of
it.
the judgment call.
So you've turned it from a fault
yeah.
deal. You've turned it from whose fault was it? Because that would have been a really tough one if you were going to blame it on one or the other. Because like I said, one was pinching the other one down, one was pushing
Our neck
them
of the woods would have put them both to the back.
both to the back.
How was their spotters in your receivers? Were they?
Beautiful,
They were.
beautiful.
Good communication, clear,
Yeah.
precise. Good
I
question,
wish
Craig. Good
I wish I
question.
could have recorded it because some of the one-liners that they would come up with, it
Comedians
was
too?
priceless. Priceless. Tensions sometimes get high in a race car. Tensions out on the racetrack as you're battling back and forth and rubbing and whatever. And Grant was the one that was on the receiver all for both weeks. He had the ability to get on there under caution and make light or make not necessarily jokes, but he had the ability to come on and say, "Okay, guys, you're driving like you're on the bumper car track. This is not what we need to do out here tonight.
Yeah.
I really enjoy you guys putting on a good race, and I can't wait to see the last 16 laps. Let's go green. Thank you." And you just sit there like, okay, I'm fuming because he just hit me, and I'm gonna take him out next corner and all this. And then that guy talks to you, and you're looking around like, he just thanked me.
Let's
But
pay
yet
attention here.
he
Let's get
said
it
I
done.
was driving a bumper car, but now he just thanked me, and he can't wait to watch us finish the last 16 laps. It makes you like stop and go,
He insulted me and then he complimented me twice. I'm confused.
Yeah.
what he just said.
I just want to finish the race, apparently.
And the reason
That's what
why
I was told to do.
I bring that up is, okay, so you've already set the standard that you can't stop on the track or you're going to call
Yep.
on yellow. And so there was an incident with Kelly Henderson,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
he went low and got kind of twisted up and stopped on the track. And after that, complete melee. I mean, they
So-
just kept coming.
So that was a product of multiple things. That the Kelly wreck, it's so hard to see on the replay to watch how that thing started. I remember watching it with my eyeballs, so I can't remember the exact specifics, but that was an instance of you didn't want to stop.
Right.
How
They-
how
no.
that
Yes.
how
yes.
that got started.
I did see the replay of it, and you're right. That was the response of, if I stop, I'm going to get sent to the pits.
You said her.
So
Yep.
yeah. So they didn't want to, and then all of a sudden they couldn't control it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly how I saw it. Yes.
And
Yeah.
then they
That-
went out and worked the track.
That's why I don't like that.
They went out and worked the track right before the sport
It
mods.
looked snotty. It
the
looked
bottom
snotty.
the bottom groove they didn't quite get worked in enough, so it was snotty down on the bottom.
Worse
and
yet.
Kelly, one car crossed up. Kelly tried to go to the bottom, made it like 4 wide. Kelly
He sweeped up, went
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, Kelly was down in the mud
Mm-hmm.
and slid up in front of the got in the mud. Front end went up the track, and I'm not saying he caused it by any means, but then chaos ensued.
Yeah, he got clipped in the right rear because again
Yep.
it was. Now we don't want to stop because we get in trouble, but at the same time we're on grease. We can't even steer it, and then it just you're right, Craig. They're on top of each other. That was terrible. I mean, again, I'm going to be me now. Had that been flagged normally, only 3 cars would have been in that.
That's right.
There were 7
and
cars
you know
in it
who felt-
because it was a you stop, you're out deal.
And the one who felt the worst about the whole thing was Kelly, because all this is going on, and he's like, is this?
And the car
part of
in,
me wants to keep on going because you're going to put me in the pits, and yet I made a mistake.
and the car in 26th place. wasn't paying attention and drove in there and landed on top of 2 other cars upside down.
I know.
Unbelievable.
It was,
we tell these stories all the time, and yet they still get reinvented.
and that's why I say
like,
it was
in
when
the
the
days of
spotter saying
They were very
red.
Brock.
Stop before 4 or something. I mean,
Yeah.
that you've been the receiver guy. You'll tell us what, hey.
Sometimes I get pretty excited when you guys don't listen to me, don't
low
I?
and two. Let's see, I'm in 4. Okay, I got a half a lap before I'm there.
Or maybe
Yellow,
make sure you don't hit
hey,
them.
yellow, yellow, yellow.
You're close.
Or maybe when that person in 26, after they were up on their lid, the receiver said, "Thank you for stopping so promptly."
yeah.
I don't think
I
that
meant
happened.
you, buddy. Now look at this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Great hot sauce topic, really is. This no fault deal. We don't have much of it here, but really we should have reflected on it after the Super Nationals, because you'll go there and not even know what we're talking about.
right.
And then once you've been stung by it, you're like, I spent $10,000 to come down here and do this. You got to be kidding. so yeah.
It's
Your turn.
when
So-
when you go to events outside of North Dakota, some people will race in North Dakota their whole life. They won't travel. That's perfectly okay. But if you're somebody that's raced in North Dakota and you understand how North Dakota does it, and maybe you're 10 years into your career and you finally have enough money to go south, and you pick Super Nationals, or you pick this Winter Nationals deal, you pick
almost anywhere else.
you pick an event in the southern half
Almost
of the
any promoter ran track.
Almost any-
which is
yes.
all of them. But up here.
and
So-
and you don't quite, and you think you're rolling in there, and you're going to have a North Dakota track flagging
you're
rules.
going to have a North Dakota good time.
You're going to be in for a rude awakening. The reason why we bring something like this up, or I bring it up, because it even took me, like, whoa. There's an adjustment period that you have to go through just to be involved in some of that.
You almost have to change the way you race at speed, because you want to leave yourself enough room to make sure you got
But
a way
you
out.
can't, because they're going to go by you.
You know, so then you ask
Because
yourself,
they don't care.
how much fun am I having?
Here's do you know what the motto of all 8 days was? 6th to 28th paid $100.
I've been there. I understand.
Brock went out there. It was classic. Brock went out there one night for the feature, and he started 28th or 27th or whatever. Started towards the back, and he worked his ass off, and he drove all the way up to 9th. And we go down to the pay window, and I started 10th, and I finished 19th in the hobbies. We go down to the pay window, and I pick up Brock's pay, and I pick up my pay, and I look at them. They're both $100. I hold it up, and I go, "How you doing, huh?"
Great show. Yeah.
Flagging's
Yeah.
a big deal. Back to NASCAR, we not directly involved with the Smithfield NASCAR, but our meet manager has been able to go down there and go to the Daytona 500, and he's been down there twice where the Smithfield car is leading the race, 5 to go, whatever. The last place you want to be is leading, because
Yeah.
they pick you off,
Yeah.
and,
Yep.
it's fine.
It's a draft track, and the cars behind you are always faster.
But,
Yep.
but I mean, they could hit you, put you in the wall, and go by you, and they don't get sent back to the back.
yeah.
Dale Earnhardt made it a career.
The cool thing about
I've been
NASCAR,
in board meetings at that, and we say that's professional. Everybody's getting paid a whole lot of money. This is different. I mean, I remember John just really trying to break it down.
the cool thing about NASCAR is I think they did start taking some of them wins away from guys that are too aggressive. If I remember last year, I thought they
Yeah,
black flagged a
seems like
truck
there's
series
maybe
driver,
Yeah,
or they
there you
did
go.
something.
Kyle Busch gets in trouble because he should know better.
There was somebody else that
Yeah.
drove super aggressive and wrecked somebody. I thought it was Carson Hocevar or something
Yeah.
that he took out another
yeah.
driver.
I think on the dirt anyway.
Yeah,
When they were on dirt
and,
there somewhere.
and they finally said, you know what, enough's enough. You don't get this win. Or I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but.
I'm actually going to remember a comment that was made to me when, I went to Florida or whatever there. Some drivers that were older than me, and when I got back and all that, and they said, you know, it's usually a pretty good deal to come back home. And I thought maybe you'd enjoy that.
Yeah.
Because I remember them telling me that. Because they had been out of state racing, and they made the comment. it was always good to come back home.
So
So I think that still applies. It's still
To-
nice to come back home.
to change a little bit of the hot sauce, because there's several of them. We could go for weeks on this.
Yeah.
The other thing I seen down there, and Jesse reminded me of it, and thank you, Jesse, for reminding. For those that don't know, IMCA has implemented new ride height rules for your frame
Yeah.
on all 4 classes.
All classes. They got a minimum and a maximum.
Hobby stocks and stock cars, which what affects us in this situation, is 7 to 9 inches. So that
No
means
lower than 7, no higher than 9.
correct.
With you in the car.
With you in the car.
After the scale.
Yep. They did it down there on the scale. You scaled, then they measured you right there. Because
Did
it's a
Who's
flat
got
surface.
a flat spot?
Did that affect you? Did you have to make
I'm
adjustments?
not sure yet. I'm still on jack stand, so I don't think I'll be too bad.
We checked the car that I was racing before we brought it to the track. It was checked and it was legal. Number one, in the hobby stock world, this is where the rule confuses me in a hobby stock, because we don't have weight jacks.
Interesting, yeah.
We don't have. You have to run the same length springs in the front. You can't run an 11-inch and a 13 in the front, or you have to run the same height springs in the front, and then in the back the same height springs. You don't have to front to back. They don't have to be the same, but left to right they have to be the same.
So you got 2 11s in the front
and 2 13s
and 2
in the back.
13s in the back. Okay.
Yes. Well, other than maybe changing some spring height stuff, how the heck are you going to change your ride heights on your chassis?
That's a good question.
That's what I was wondering. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
So Brandon smartass got him in trouble.
Let air out of the tires?
We're gonna go to Brandon.
Well, yeah, that's good to get interesting. I see you got dinged, so
We're gonna go Brandon's smartass mouth got him in trouble. I got a little cocky.
Were you riding too high?
We're gonna get to this. So the new ride height rule was a big topic down there. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was discussing it. Most people were concerned about it, because it's new. It's something new that hasn't been in
Most
play.
people don't know.
Most people don't know, because I have never checked a ride height on a hobby stock in my whole career.
I'm 40 years into this. I don't know what mine is. I just jack on stuff until it handles right, and here we go.
So Brandon's mouth.
Or dilly bar.
I was a little frustrated. I was in a tough heat race. You couldn't pass. I finished 6th. I started 9th, finished 6th. Wasn't enough points to get me to the A main. It was all on passing points. That can be a whole nother hot sauce topic. I don't know where you want to stop with all this.
Yeah.
But
let's save that for next time.
yeah, 9th to 6th, whatever. Put me in a B main. Start 9th. I was frustrated. I went out there. I told Jason. I told Brock. I said, you know what? I don't want to barely make it into this feature. We're going to go win this son of a bitch. So I went out there, and I was just super aggressive. I got up to 2nd, and checkered flag. All right, I got 2nd. I made a show out of it. Started 9th to 2nd. That's a good show. Solidly in the A main.
Good passing points.
Get to the scale for the ride height deal. And he goes underneath there with the tool, and they're going to all 4 corners and this and that, whatever. And he leans in and he goes, I got to dock you 2 spots because you're too high. And I go, too high? Where? He goes, left front. You're a 1/4 inch too high. I go, how the F can I be too high? He goes, you're too high. I put the tool underneath there. You're too high. I go, hold up. How the F am I supposed to shorten it if I'm a 1/4 inch too high? This is a hobby stock. It can't be too high.
Factory. The way
That's
God
what I
made
was
her.
getting at.
Yeah.
Well, at that point in time, his patience had ran out on me,
DF'd
and he
ya.
told me to get the hell out of there.
Nice.
He didn't DNF me. He didn't DQ me. He just told me to get my bad attitude
He
out
didn't
of there.
tee you up at the basketball game?
Well, it would have been probably a tee up, but he told me to get my bad attitude out of there. Yeah. I don't blame him. I probably didn't talk the nicest to him because,
Too many cuss words.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, concerned about it, we get up to the trailer, and I'm throwing a steering wheel out this window and a helmet out that window, and my cuss words are going, and Peyton, my daughter's going, I've never seen my dad like this.
I was going to say, that's not like you.
That is pretty aggressive for you.
Frustration.
Yeah. Racing don't make you mad, nothing will. I say it all the time. It's true.
So the next day, we didn't change anything on the car. Changed nothing. We got the tape measure out while I was sitting in the car. Jason and Brock were checking all 4 corners, knowing we were in dirt Dirt sometimes
Yeah.
has an effect on.
Might have a half inch here or there.
Numbers came out exactly where they were supposed to be and what Jason and Brock checked them. So if you can imagine, I was fuming even more mad because when we checked everything.
Sleep didn't do anything.
Well, no, this was
Right
afterwards.
during it. Okay.
Afterwards. When I
Okay.
drove up to the pit,
Oh, I
we
see.
were
This is-
checking. We were
okay.
checking.
Minutes later.
And yeah, minutes later.
Okay.
And
I'm
it
thinking
didn't
the
make
next
any
day.
sense to me because we check it. If you're going to have you maybe get a quarter to half inch difference when you're on dirt, depending on the
Fair.
holes and whatever.
Yep.
Well, I was at 7 3/4 inches on the left front, and he said I was a 1/4 inch high. That means his measurement was 9 1/4 inches, and I'm like,
Yeah. Ooh.
what in the hell?
That's an inch and a half from the way you are, and it gives you a solid inch in your favor if we're using the half inch error. Yeah. Yeah.
Fuming, the steam was just pouring out the top at that
Kind of
point.
like getting set to the pits on a no-fault call.
Exactly. I jump on the four-wheeler. I drive down to that tech guy, and I go, you need to explain to me where I was high and by how much, because we just measured my ride heights up there at the pits.
Is he listening to you?
No. I pissed him off by cussing at him. He didn't want nothing to do with me. He seen me coming, and he's like, nah, I ain't giving this guy the time of day. Once again, my mouth got me in trouble. I deserved what I was being treated. Handle it a little better. Be calmer. Talk to him. Have a conversation.
Racing makes you mad.
So, whatever. I was still in the A main. I went up, started my 18th.
But you're worried about getting docked again if you would.
If you do
Correct.
nothing,
Correct.
If you do nothing, you're in trouble tomorrow. Yeah.
Correct. So, whatever. I finished my 10th or 9th or 8th. I can't remember where I finished that night. Felt pretty good about the run, but in the back of my mind, I'm going, something's not right here. Because it doesn't. So the next day, I went down and I apologized to the tech official. And I said, hey, man, I'm sorry the way I acted last night. It just didn't make any sense to me that my ride heights were high. It doesn't, because in a hobby stock, we don't want them that high, especially the left front.
Especially.
Especially the left front. There's no point in making the left front that high. And I go, the other thing is how are these people adjusting ride heights anyways?
That is a great question. I never thought that far out, but hobbies are a given.
As far as I'm concerned. And then he talked to me, and he goes, well, some guys are cutting springs, or some guys are doing this. They're putting 13-inch springs, they're cutting a half a coil off, or they're this or that or whatever.
That's a no-no in a stock car.
I thought, and I go, isn't it a rule you can't cut a spring? He goes, well, that's kind of whatever.
Ooh.
And I go, I thought it was a rule we couldn't cut springs. So that's where I'm confused on all this.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, well, IMCA and this and that. He was kind of him and Han, and I'm like, well, beyond that. Can I bring my car down to the scale? And I go, I'm going to have my brother come down with me, and Jason, the car owner, whoever wants, if he wants to come down.
So we can see what you're doing.
I have to sit in the car because we have to be at racing, whatever. I go, I haven't put fuel in it from the feature last night. I go, it's going to have me in the car. I want you guys
We
to
have to
measure.
fix this, and we want to know why, how, and whatever.
Exactly. I go, I want to make this car legal. That's our goal. So can we bring it down? You measure it. And so I go get the car. We come down. Brock's on the four-wheeler. And pull on the scale. They grab their tools. IMCA Dave Bren with IMCA.
Dave was okay. Bren was
he
there?
wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
He was
Okay.
there the first week. He made tools. He made a 6 3/4 and then a 9 1/4 tool.
Okay. Go,
Okay?
no-go gauge.
Go, no go.
Yep.
So the 6 3/4 one is supposed to go underneath.
Yeah. They're giving you a 1/4 inch.
Yep. And the 9
and a
1/4
shouldn't go.
should not go underneath. They get the tools out there and they start doing their thing, and the helper of the tech official goes, see, it's not high, or it's too high right here. And I go, okay, Brock, you got your tape measure? Measure his tool. Measure the length of that. And it was 6 3/4 inches. And I go, well, no shit. It's going to be low. It's supposed to be low. Or it's
You're
supposed
still fuming.
Well, I
for
was-
good reasons.
Fuming was starting to build again at that point. And so they
He
sat
made
there.
the judgment call on the wrong one.
They stepped back, and they took a little bit of time, and they looked at one another, and they looked at me and said, sir, we screwed up. We apologize. And I said, you know what? I accept it. I'm not mad anymore. My car's legal, correct? And they said, yep, all 4 corners are legal. I said, okay.
How many other guys they do that to?
I have no idea.
I was going to ask the same question.
I didn't go into that detail. I didn't ask.
I was thinking you were, you know how they say you left the front.
Left front at home
Yeah,
and stuff.
like maybe it was lifted up and
No.
then it took a while to.
Maybe the spring
Like
turned or
everything
something?
kind of, if you can imagine there was 3 tech guys there and Brock and me. So I was really trying to bite my tongue. I was really trying not to be that guy, and Brock was
A diplomat.
trying to be the same way. But both of us at that point in time were not really fuming, but we were adamant about what we knew.
Yeah.
And they had to sit there. They
And
looked
you did.
and they looked at one another and they're like, "Oh, yeah, maybe we screwed up on this deal." Got the apology. We moved on.
Yeah.
Had a beer. I had 1 beer down there all 2 weeks. Went and shook the guy's hand at the end of the weekend and had a drink with him, and we called it good. It just
Well, I mean, it's
everybody-
tech inspecting sucks.
It's a
Nobody
new
wants
rule.
to do it. It's a new rule. I wasn't sure where they're even going to measure it, and I don't know where I'm at.
they're
'cause
going
I
on
haven't
the
needed to know
so
where
the
I'm
factory holes. Like
Yeah,
your front factory holes
at.
on
Your
the front,
bushing holes.
and then on the back
So they're just T-barring in there with their
tool.
shorty and their long one.
Yep.
The shorty fits and the long one don't.
That's their go no gauges. Yep.
Yeah, I like it. It's simple.
You just got to have a level
You got to have a
surface.
flat area.
Flat.
And if they're giving you a 1/4 inch, well, that's better than an 1/8.
Yep.
So
Yep. So all was solved. It's just Brandon made a little bit of a fool out of himself because I was a little hot.
Well, remember
you proved me right. If
remember-
racing don't make you mad, nothing will.
remember what I asked you about what did you learn? Well, you learned,
You learn that you're right and you're still wrong.
But it affected so much because Jason Olson is sitting there with a car that was built by IROC, and
There's
this,
a reflection.
exactly. IROC is there going, Rip down there that helped build the car. Rip was like,
We don't
"What?"
build cheaters.
There you go. There was a whole bunch of that
Well,
going
the tech man says you do.
on. What-
Well, we don't.
And,
So-
and the other thing was I had changed springs and I had changed this and changed that in the car since it was at the shop, measuring ride heights.
Jason's
then
like, what'd you put in it?
I was getting questioned, what did I
What'd you
put in
put
it?
in it?
What'd you do? What this? What that? I'm like, I didn't do nothing that should affect that. That's, that was my, I've been around a car more than a day. I know what kind of stuff does. I didn't do anything that should
Well, like you
affect
say,
that.
especially the hobbies can't have weight jacks. I forgot about that. See, like a stock car's got to have a 9.5-inch front spring. You can't have an 8.5. You can't have a 10.5. You got to have a 9.5. Therefore, you can't cut it. But we have weight jacks, so you can compensate for
Right.
whatever you're doing. But I was just thinking on your deal, unless the spring, it can move in the bottom pocket, get out
Yeah,
of
it
its
gets
ear,
out of- yep.
out of its hole, and start rotating around. Because if you were leaving the left front at home, they'll start backing out. And I thought maybe you got in trouble on that. I actually weld a stud on mine so it doesn't move. So it's always in the right spot.
what would be the benefit of being high?
Down there on a dry track, you'd have the car hunched over. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be my go-to thought. Trying to get some side bite,
But I
trying
mean-
to get some transfer.
And the reason why they implemented that rule is because they didn't want people cutting springs and changing things.
No, I would say that they implemented it. I'm going to say because the cars are getting too much attitude.
Too much on the right front. They're digging holes in the racetrack. going to the
Well, and
corner.
they are. If you look at a racetrack, you'll see the shiny spots from the
The
modified
Elijah
segment.
Zevenbergen
Well,
twist.
Yeah, I guess I can't come at you with any real experience on it as far as a stock car, hobby stock type car. But those A-mods, those things are animals.
Actually, Rob
And
Van
they're
Mills
smashing
kind
it.
of does that too.
It does, yeah. So maybe they're trying to take a little bit of that. I mean, I dare say the cars that are doing that seem to be pretty fast, and maybe there's a bunch of, what will I call it, expensive blue sky black magic in there, and maybe they're just trying to keep the
Right.
world from having to buy that, maybe.
I know, like in the sport mod world, Brock had to make changes to his Rage sport mod.
I know there was some talk there that he was trying to do the 2024 rules when he was there in November and just gave up and said, we'll do 2024 when
in
we come back.
2024.
When we come
and,
back.
And they made adjustments all week. Brock was continuously like we kind of went the same pattern per se, to where we both started out kind of the mid 20s, whatever. And by the end of the 2 weeks, Brock was probably further up. He finished the last 2 nights in the top 6. And he was battling up front, winning heat races. By the end of the 2 weeks, Brock was further ahead than I was in the car adjustment category. But Yeah, just
kind of, Craig, taking some of that attitude out of the front. You know, like you referenced being tipped over on the right front. They're going to have that not built into it so much.
there's ways around it.
Yeah, they're going to play the soft spring game and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
they're still. I'm not sure what they're going to fix, but whatever they're after, if they don't think they got it, they'll amend. So,
The thing that I had a conversation
After
with
something.
Dave Brent about it, and this was the first weekend. This was actually the first day that we were there. And he just said, he goes, you know, whether people like it or don't like it, it's my job to try to keep the playing field level.
yeah.
And when I see something, or, you know, he basically said, we don't make these rules just, oh, we're going to make this rule, this is what it is.
Well,
This had 3 or 4 years of thought in it. They started.
They see trends going.
Yeah, they kind of started with the ride height rules with the front bumper, rear bumper, tailpiece, nose piece.
Yeah, trunk
That's where
lids,
where this started, and guys were
cocking the bodies around.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's where it kind of started. Now guys were mounting the bodies goofy on there to make the bodies fit. Well, then the frame was all goofy underneath.
Yeah.
He goes, so we seen what guys were doing. We made a correction to it.
We were fixing the body when it was actually the chassis.
Exactly.
So,
That's basically,
Yeah.
in a grand nutshell, simplified version of what we talked about. And they don't just make rules just to make rules. They try to keep the playing field level.
Like I say, try to keep some of that crazy Blue Sky Black Magic price stuff.
And the
from,
expense.
Yeah. that's where
There
I'm
you
going.
go.
The Blue Sky Black Magic, keeping people from buying $5,000 shock packages that probably ain't going to change much for them. But they're spending it.
I'm telling you, as a hobby stock, though, if you're running 11-inch front springs and 13-inch rear springs, there's no reason your ride height should not make rules.
But I will tell you this, like I was telling you, I think the eye test.
Those are the rules, aren't they? Those your spring height rules.
Oh no, you can run.
You can move it around.
You can run 13-inch fronts or whatever you want to
But
run.
left's got to match right.
Left has to match
Okay.
right, but front does not have to match back.
Back, right.
The 8 car looks like it sits taller than the 5.
The body, it's the way the body mounts.
So in a nutshell, now you set your chassis up at ride height, legal ride height, and then you hang your body at trunk lid height.
Yep.
Or less.
Yep.
So that would be how you two-step into a proper stanced car.
Yes.
And he just suggested that the 8 body is mounted higher than the 5 body.
Right.
So
The back is mounted the same. The 5 car is in the gray area of the nose piece ride height rule. The frame ride heights are where they're supposed to be. The nose piece ride height, if I were to hit anybody or push anybody, it might push it down. I'm like within a quarter of an inch of.
you referenced that last fall that it's close.
It is.
It still is apparently.
It has to be 9 inches, and I'm
When you did
9 and a
8 and 15/16.
when you did
9
the
and
dance with the
16.
Estevan wall, that might have changed the.
Actually, that helped me pick it up a little bit.
Kind of poofed it up.
Yeah. Only thing it did, it
Right
knocked,
side.
knocked down the center a little bit. We gotta.
Say, I'm still on Jack Sands. I got to get Dilly over. That's Dilly's department.
It is a
I
change
put
for
in
some of
cranks
them.
and rods. He puts in springs. So
It is a change for some of them. For some guys, it's something to be aware of.
yeah.
If you're a North Dakota driver, and you don't know about the new ride height rule, reach out to Ryan Sebo and have that
Yeah.
conversation, because he's one that would know the rule. And
Well, and even the tech inspectors. I mean, Davey and Mark were down there last year at Boone getting caught up, and they'll be on top of it.
What
too,
about putting
so.
bigger rims on it?
well, you're stuck with
In everything but the hobby class, you're stuck to the wheel and tire that we have. So
Well,
that'd be pretty consistent.
the con-
Hobbies can do 2 sizes.
the conversation that was going on in the hobby stock world, because you can run either 14-inch wheels and tires in a hobby, or you can run 15s. You can run 205 75s or 205 70s. Most people run 205 70 15s. You know, I ran 205 70 15s. That's what we ran, Max's car or whatever. Some people play with smaller wheels and tires, or smaller tires, this, that, whatever. It's pretty much puts you on the one plan thing, because you're not going to be able to put the smaller tires on there and make ride heights.
You get too low.
You'll get too low.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because with stock 11-inch springs in the front, that's what we had in the 8 car. Stock 11-inch springs, we were 7 3/4 inches. So
Yeah.
therefore,
So if you lose an inch on the tire, you're going to be an inch too low.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there's no pulling in and running on the donut.
No.
Well, and then just as he was rattling off those tire sizes, whichever number you pick has to be on all four corners.
Yes, it has
you
to be
can't
all
put big
four
ones on the
corners.
outside and little ones on
But
the
you
inside.
mentioned one time that different brands sometimes had different stances, even if they had the different
Yeah.
Yes.
statistics.
Yeah. You can get different brands will have different size tires
You
within a
for
little
IMCA
bit.
spec, I mean, your 205/75 has got to be on all four corners.
But sometimes if you get a Bridgestone 205/75
Yeah.
versus a Chinese brand 205/75, you can get some Stager.
You might get
or
a half inch.
You might get a half inch. You get some reverse Stager or Stager, however you want
Yeah.
to put it on the car.
Where you were at reversed.
Needed to be reversed.
About 6 more inches of it.
Interesting story. Interesting.
Yeah.
I just thought I
Ah.
put a Facebook post out there. I tried not to create a whole bunch of drama. Ultimately,
I was going to follow up with you on
the
that.
moral of the story is treat people with respect. You can have a conversation and probably solve your problems without being a jackass like I was.
Did the 2 spots that you got penalized hurt you, do you think?
It put me in the middle of a wreck.
Well,
Got the whole right side tore
Well.
off. Because if I would have been one row ahead,
they'd have been
the guy
behind
that
you.
the guy that was one row ahead of me missed the wreck, and me where I was, because there was a wreck to take the green flag that night, and the person who started in where I was supposed to start cleared it. You know, the guy bounced off the wall and did whatever, and then he come down the track. Well, he caught my right side and tore up the door, the quarter panel, the
There's so many features, but there was one right at the checkers. I think you were in like 13th, and there was a big wreck and going into 4, and I think you gained like 3 or 4 spots.
Oh yeah, I love them ones.
Yeah.
Missed them. Whew. That was close.
But this one was the second to last night. There was there was a wreck coming to I'm telling you. There is zero give and take down there. And this is what I told
It's good to come home. It's good to come back home.
There's a couple guys that I talked to throughout the week and whatever, and I'd look at them and I go, guess what? The parts don't get any cheaper as you go forward.
They don't care in the car.
As you go forward and you're wrecking your stuff,
that 6th place
you're
100
still,
is a
you're
tough
still
100.
getting $100. And I'm getting $100 back here, and I'm coming home with a car.
I'm just cruising around watching the sights. How about that big sun?
Do you know what didn't work down there? You remember the Stampede when we sat here at the after the Stampede, and I told you guys that I managed the race. You know, I got a top
Yes.
6 because I managed the race.
Yeah.
Well, you don't get to manage race down there. You
Hell's bells.
you gotta go.
Hell's bells.
If you're managing a race down there, you're where I finished. Pretty much.
You're in the way?
Yeah, you're in the way. Because there was a couple times that I was just trying to stay out of the wrecks and manage the race, and it wouldn't take but 2 laps, and I'd lose 5 spots. Because them guys ain't managing nothing. They're managing the front bumper in front of them that they're going to hit when they go by them.
Put the
whatever.
brick on the floor and just hold on.
Well, you can't do that because it's too slick.
Yeah. Then you spin out in front of them all and they run over you because they can't stop because they'll have to get sent to the pits. Dang. We touched on some good stuff here.
Yeah.
Been a while. We haven't been in the saddle for a while.
2 hours and 47 minutes. Travis Hagen, if you're still watching, you checked in here a little while ago. If you're still watching, we're almost to our 4 hours. We joked earlier when I was on the phone with him that he goes, you guys will
boy.
somehow get 4 hours out of nothing.
Well,
Well, actually,
Would have started on time.
on the
We
way over
probably
here,
would've.
I'm like, geez, I'm cold. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but Jordan, you always seem to find something.
I don't know. Well, Craig, with that said, you were missing and Smallsy was here, and we're like, well, we're going to be under the test here because is it Craig or is it not? Well, it appears that you're safe.
We know who the secret sauce.
It was not you.
It wasn't you, so, well.
Smallsy sat right there, and he goes, after we were done with a 3.5 hour show, he goes, that was 3.5 hours?
It goes by pretty quick.
goes
That's
by
what I
quick.
say.
Oh, when you're talking about stuff you like and and
Seemingly, yeah. Yeah. You'd have enjoyed Smallsy.
I watched ya.
We got.
I was with
We got to
ya.
have you right here though, so you can turn up the heat a little. Smallsy likes the heat, so
Yeah.
I enjoyed Smallsy too. Yeah. But at any rate, winter's rolling right along here. So if we got any little things we want to line up this winter, we need to get on it.
Yeah.
Individual interviews.
Yeah, who are we going to?
Well, Will's dad and uncle talked about they wanted to come on, and we talked about that maybe. We were going to bring Smallsy's little picture book on.
Yeah, he wants to
so,
bring his picture book
wanna-
on, but I got
wanna
to do
bring-
some scanning and stuff to get it up
No.
on the screens.
You know what shows?
Uh-oh, Karen just checked in.
Oh,
I'm late to the party. Did we
yeah,
talk Dome
well,
yet?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we did, but we didn't get far because, well,
We don't have any updates.
winter's
Nothing's
been
really
cold. We ain't
changed.
got.
Karen, we were already talking about your combining talents.
Yeah, checking into the architect. How's she
Craig,
doing?
Craig drives by the water dome just south of mine out there and thinks that he's going to put a racetrack in the middle of it or something.
Yeah, that's farther down from the Blue Water Tower, but Tina and I go by the Blue Water Tower and we think of your Snapchats, so we're kind of building up a little file of our own.
Karen
It's
sent me.
going to look so good there by the big Blue Water Tower.
She sent me a picture. She was fueling up
Ah.
and sent me a picture of her receipt, and she said it's going to be a good day. $67.11.
Look at that, huh? That is a good day.
Do you do something
course-
like that on purpose?
Of course, you'd rather have it be 1167 if you're buying. Yeah.
Chris
for
Anderson, you can just keep that to yourself.
Uh-oh.
Actually,
Oh.
no, you can't, because
Oh.
it's beautiful up here. It was gorgeous today with the
Yeah.
sun shining.
Yeah, the snow is melting today.
35, 36 degrees,
Ah.
sun shining. Didn't even need
Yeah.
a sweatshirt. I had this on all day, just a light.
I brought Macy to wrestling practice, and there was kids leaving Jim Hill, and they were walking across the street with their jacket off. I'm like, it ain't quite that nice out, but they thought it was. So the Jim Hill sign said 35 degrees.
I'm going to let you in on something, Mr. Chris Anderson.
Uh-oh.
When it's 70 during the day down there in Arizona and it drops down to 50, 45-ish at night,
Feels like 10.
it's cold.
Big time.
That desert cold is real. Oof.
Yeah, it's cold.
I remember when we went to Hazer, I couldn't believe it. Like you say, it was like 50 degrees. My God, it felt like it was 15. It was cold.
And
Wow.
this ain't, I'm not complaining because it was definitely still warmer than
It
home.
wasn't 28 below, but it wasn't 70 either. Yeah, true that.
We were
No,
at-
Karen, we're a little soft on Dome Talk. We're kind of had a little hiatus here, but let's get the drawings going. Snoopy Land.
The Pfeiffer Suite,
Yeah. Slide out stage.
Motley Crue Inc. for the opening night.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, Karen. Motley Crue Friday. There is no races anywhere, so opening night of the fair. See you there.
Keep it
Make
straight,
sure
though.
we get our tickets.
We still got to talk to Tommy and Vince.
Yeah. Well, we'll get them off to the side and get them lined up for the Dome opening. So
Yeah. We'll make the revenue up right away with all the events we're going to have in there.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Taylor Swift, so that
State
big
B,
fast money, but-
State B basketball.
boy, I don't even think we know what that is. Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I was at the Dome, MSU
MSU?
Dome, back in the day. I don't know if they get as big as this was that night, but 12,000 they had in the Dome there.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was
I guess I didn't know how much it held, but it'll hold that.
she
huh?
was big.
Ah,
Seats are down.
yeah, had them all drug out.
They're doing some remodeling up there.
I haven't been up there yet this winter.
They took out all the bleachers on the one side, up on the top level, all the bleachers on the
Those-
one
those
side.
wood-
ones.
Really?
The one side is all taken out.
Oh,
I don't know if they're going to put them back in or what they're doing.
Where do you go with something like that?
Yeah. Be a heck of a bleacher at
It
Underwood.
would be. Yeah.
Put them wood bleachers in Underwood. That's a tall.
Jeez.
You'd make it all the way past the tree row.
Lean them up against the tree row.
The north side of the track.
Yeah. Guy, it'd be fun to get on the north side, but we got no guardrail protection over there. But yes, I would love to have a north grandstand there. Again, kind of like
Yeah.
Dome Talk. I'd love to have a north side, so whatever side the wind's blowing from, let's set you in the other side. So you're
Yeah.
always not in the wind.
Yeah.
So south northwest, we'll set on the north side.
Well, we had a slow starting show. Not many people stuck or was around for our scheduling talk. We released the schedules. We talked to Arizona Talk several times through there, but talked Dome and people joined us a little late. So we'll shoot for next week. Do we have a guest that we want to bring on? Anybody that want to come on next week or?
Yeah, get some suggestions. Like I say, Smallsy's got his picture book. We should get Karen in here. Get Karen and Nick in here at the same time. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know if we have enough headsets, but we can set up microphones with
Yeah.
we can make it work.
Mm-hmm.
How many chairs we got? We got a dual chair over
Hey, we
there.
got a side by side.
We got a double seater over there. And
If Travis,
Ah.
he's
Yeah, Travis. We need to get Travis in here.
I'd love to visit
We
with
gotta
him.
catch up with him.
yeah,
He's got
pick a night to come over. We don't have
Yeah.
to be Wednesdays.
yeah, Oh, but it helps with the. We're deep in basketball. Don't forget.
Uh-oh. Karen has a
Oh.
scheduling grief.
Oh, she's got basketball too.
Slingshots on July 4th with no mods. The lake is nice that day.
Slade and Eastland.
You know,
having it hard
Karen.
here.
I'm just telling you that I heard
Oh.
you a few years ago, and we took slingshots off of the 4th of July. So this one is a grief with smalls. Not me.
Oh. Slingshots at the Cole County Classic. That was on
Boom.
purpose.
That
for
was
the
on
11P
purpose.
team. Or the 11P team. So.
The 11 slingshot has found his legs. 2023 Stock Car Stampede champion slingshot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Him and Gabe both. Stock Car Stampede champions.
Well, guys, it's 10:30.
Yeah.
It's past my bedtime.
Yeah. Yeah, we're out of shape. Well, we'll get back in it. We got to start on time.
That was
'Cause
my
we-
fault because I was setting up the computer and the graphics and had to restart it for an update. And
This is kind of like racing. No matter when you start, you always finish at the same time. And I'm sticking to it. 4, 5, 6, or 7, or 8. I think you always end at 10:30. So.
And I'll get the cool music back too. I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't have that hooked up
Yeah.
tonight either.
Little
The cool
game-
music
game
Conway you
show
talking
music.
about?
Whatever.
Hey, real quick, Conway talk. So, so playing that Conway stuff there, we've got a little Snapchat stuff going on that stuff. Now, I apologize to those that are Snapchatting me. I got to turn off my ringer because I can't get nothing done. It's dinging all the time. So, and then
What group are you in?
Well, Karen and Schessler and so Chris, their help there. He's playing me back some Conway stuff here, and I'm thinking it might be time for me to make a music list. What do you
Music
think?
list?
Or what are those called there? Playlist.
Playlist.
Yeah.
The official Jordan Boys set list.
Well, I want you to back me up on it because we're on the same.
I'm with you.
So-
And Schessler's all over 910. Smallsy's all over 910.
Oh,
You're late to the party,
I
but
am-
you know the importance of this. So
Yeah.
So I
So
think we can
here-
put together about a 10-song playlist. What do you think?
here's the caveat.
I'll start it. You approve it.
We can't play the playlist when we're Facebook Live.
We can't. Oh.
No,
Well-
they'll mute our audio. Facebook
Well-
doesn't like that.
What if I sing it?
Well, if you sing it, it's all good.
Well-
Honestly, if you sing it, we'll just make an album of you singing the songs and maybe
Well,
sell one.
Maybe we can put up a chart of what's on it, and then you can just. I don't know how you download it, but I'll figure that out with Katie. But about a 10-songer, I mean, that would get you like from here to Bowbells, I mean, you'll have a nice little deal there. Well, of course, you got KCJB then, but if there's something on you don't want to listen to, like, I don't know, maybe some bad game from
here's
way
what
out
we're gonna
somewhere
do.
else, so.
We're going to create
We'll
this
get a
playlist
playlist.
on Spotify. We're going to create Jorn Boyce's Mullet Mafia, whatever we're going to call it, Spotify.
We'll have the daytime, which is 9:10, and we'll have, like, Motley Crue. We'll make the nighttime version, too. So.
We're going to play. And
One
we'll
extreme to the other, man.
Yeah.
The beauty
side
of
by side.
So the Spotify thing, the Spotify that we
Yeah,
got,
That's actually what Katie talked about.
you
I've
can
already
create
bounced
it-
this across Katie.
you
so.
can create that playlist on Spotify. Then you can share that playlist,
Oh, and you just grab it?
and then people out there can grab the
Wow.
playlist and just play the Jorn Boyce
Well,
10 songs.
I think there's something there.
I don't know how
A
you're sitting
spin-off
on,
of the Dirt Weekly.
how are you sitting on weight on your stock car, but I think you ought to mock up an AM radio just in the
Yes.
right there.
Well, I'll share some stuff with you here when we're done here because I've been doing little tidbits of my dial radio. When the
Oh.
good songs come in, I got little hits
Yeah.
here. So maybe we'll put those up later.
Because when you're at Underwood in Victory
Yeah.
Lane,
Well,
she tried to hide it back.
well, that's how the introduction went. It was good. I mean, I did a double take, Brandon watched, and I did slip in Dome Talk because I rewatched it when you put it up with Katie here. So I'm like, God, that's right, I had Dome Talk in there too. So yeah, I hit all the. You hit the introduction. I hit a little Dome Talk. And here we are.
I cranked so like my little device I had plugged in, I cranked the volume down on it because I didn't want to blast it through the room.
You should have
And then
blasted it.
I didn't realize that when you got all them people in there, how loud it was going to be. So then I turned it on my phone, and I'm like, crap, I can't even hear it. And I'm like pushing
Yeah.
volume on my phone, going, where is it at? And then
I took the first step and I heard it. I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. So, it was awesome. I appreciate it.
I was just hoping that nobody else would
It's
get mad.
gonna grow legs.
Because they didn't get walk-up music. But
I knew you were setting me up earlier in the day. So
well, I showed you I was setting you up earlier in the day.
dang. So yeah. So yeah, maybe get a little playlist going.
Yeah. So
let's get a guest. Let's do it again next Wednesday. We gotta get going here.
next week,
It's time
we'll
to
figure
go to
somebody
race
out.
cars. Nick's never available, but he wants to be here. So.
Well, Nick has the flu this week.
Oh,
He's-
we'll stay away.
He canceled the broadcast, I think, last night or the night before
he
because
got
of
it
the
bad
flu.
then.
So.
Oh.
Yeah, PSP Network, full swing. Nick Holberg, one of the voices of dirt track racing. Check out his stuff.
Yeah,
Does a
well,
great job. PSP
Nick
Network.
does a great
The-
job.
The
And
only mistake he made was not hiring you and I to do the Ned Rose Bishop Ryan game.
there's still traction there. There's still traction
There's
there.
still?
I mean, well, I approached him at the South Prairie Ned Rose game there, and he was smiling. So I think come playoff time, I think we're still in. So I can only imagine how wild and inaccurate that could get. But it would be all in good fun and taste. I hope so.
He said that might
I'm
have,
ready.
He what he told me is that might have to be the first ever and maybe only Darn TV broadcast of high school basketball.
Well, I mean, you offered him first. I mean, somebody had to sign Elvis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We might impress people. We might be the next Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Well, yeah. I may never work on my race car. I haven't yet. So
Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth.
yeah.
I like the Buck
Well,
Aikman better, I think.
Jim Nance and Tony Romo.
Definitely like the Buck Aikman better than that one.
Who's the Fox one? Greg Olson is the color guy. Who's
Oh,
with him?
Burkhardt, yeah.
Burkhardt.
Yeah, they broadcasted that Packer game. That
How
hurt.
far is Fluffy's Lions going to go?
I hope they go all the way.
It's looking good.
I'm not jumping on the Lions bandwagon by any means, but
Fluff has hung with them forever.
in my mind,
They're coming around.
in
I
my
think
mind,
the Lions are going all the way.
what would be the best? I'm a Vikings fan through and through,
Yeah.
and I just think if the Lions get a Super Bowl win before the Vikings,
Ooh.
that would leave the Minnesota Vikings the only team in the NFC North to not have
Ooh.
a Super Bowl win. Would it not? And I think that's
I'm
perfect.
not even good at this, and that sounds right.
And I think that's perfect for the Purple People Eaters and their fans
Yep.
because we are just disappointment in a nutshell.
I have watched Fluff hang tight with these guys when country wasn't cool, as Barbara would say. As country when
There
country
you go.
wasn't cool.
Add that to the list.
So I
Add that one to the list.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the-
so
the
Fluff,
other-
Fluff was Lions when nobody else was.
The
so.
other theory that I talked about,
Yeah.
it's been so long ago, but we don't remember. The first game of the NFL season this year was what? The very first game of the regular season. It was a Thursday night. Do you remember? You probably have a better chance of remembering. than me.
Lions Chiefs.
Yeah.
Why don't we end the year with that? Why don't we begin the year
Are
with
they
the
going
Lions?
to get through the Ravens? Or who do they play? 49ers.
Ravens. Well,
Or-
the Lions play the Niners and the
Yeah.
Chiefs
Okay.
play the Ravens.
Yeah.
But at this point of the year, it's kind of like
Lions play 49ers, right?
right. It's kind of like lining up with 2 or 3 to go, and you've been a third place car all night. But by God, you have a green white checkered. You might have a winning car.
The winners wreck themselves, or the leaders wreck themselves. Yeah, well,
Everybody has a chance now.
I'm telling you. Venice made a little funny on Fluffy the other night there with blue hair and a blue mustache. It was kind of cute. Fluff played along well. Good job, Chris. I'm excited for him. I mean, I know the Viking deal, yeah, but I don't know another Lions fan, just Fluff.
Yeah,
So
he might be the only one I know.
He's a one-man show, so.
His Facebook post was pretty comical the other day because it was, I don't know how you guys do it year in and year out. One day of me trying, or one playoff game of me cheering, or I can't remember how it goes, and I'm about to have a heart attack. And you
Right, I
guys, some
seen
fans
that.
do this every year.
The lifetime in the makings here. Right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
7 days goes fast.
So,
Okay.
with that, we will close it out. I guess until next week, we'll figure out who we're going to have on it next week. Let's get somebody in here so we don't talk about us all the time. We can talk about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes
Send us some garage shots of working on your race car. I
Yep.
got nothing at my place yet, but we're talking about it, so things are going to happen pretty soon.
talking about it. That's the
Yeah.
first step of doing
It is. That's a month. So, well, I'm already kind of down a month, but yeah, a week anyway.
When Craig's going to move all the shelves around and put things in different places just to screw me up because I know what aisle is each, he talks about it for a month before he does it.
Yeah. Well.
You guys haven't done that lately.
Yeah. Well, don't do that.
We'll count on it. We'll do
Of
it.
course, the milk's not going to change because you can't move the fridge. So, that's usually my stop, milk. Okay. Get those racy cars ready.
Yeah.
It's time.
Till next week. We'll
Good
get
to be
the
back.
Get the music going. Dun, 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 dun. Whatever.
You called it something else on the front side here.
Yeah, I can't go that route. Catch you later.